chat.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to Transformers the Show. Tonight, we've got the first reaction to Transformers 1. Jamie and Pete went and saw it last night. There'll be no spoilers, though. Don't worry. But more than that, we've got the internet sensation himself, Chris McFeely's here, Transformers the Basics, to join us on tonight's show. Is it the best show ever?
Probably to Transformers 1, I think.
Yes, definitely. Lots of jealousy about those two going to see it as well. So we'll do the intro and we'll do a little bit of news. What?
There's a magical place, we're on our way there, with toys in the millions all under one roof. It's called Toys R Us. Soon after bedtime, when dark nighttime falls, Jeffrey and helpers stock up all the shelves. From ceilings to floor, books, board games and bikes, tennies, puppets and dolls, beds, spaceships and trikes. There's millions, says Jeffrey, all under one roof. It's called Toys R Us, Toys R Us, Toys R Us.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Looking forward to tonight's show. It's going to be an absolute belter. First things first, my parents have turned up from Kent, which is lovely of them. So I have to go and say hello to them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the news, which will start off with that Transformers 1. And then I promise I'll come back to the show and I will have a beer with all of you. But I'll leave you, not in Alexis's trusting hands, in Andy's trusting hands to do the news.
Oh, lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Right, we'll do the news and we'll start with that Transformers 1.
I talk some TV, and now the news. Don't touch that dial.
Oh, I think we've got some pictures. Jamie, I'm going to hand over to you now. You lucky, lucky bastard. So no spoilers. Yeah, take us through what you saw.
I talk some TV, and now the news. Don't touch that dial.
I'm getting deja vu.
Oh, it's so nervous. It's so nerve-wracking. All these photos are safe, you know, so we're not going to be arrested. Fingers crossed. If it is, it was Pete's idea. Yeah, so we went to Transformers 1 yesterday, thanks to three main groups, which was TF Nation, who provided a ticket for like my other half, Mainline, and then provided tickets for Pete and Emma. And I got to go thanks to the triple takeover crowd. Which was immense, you know, Sixo, Liam, the Scottish guy, I forgot his name, so he's going to hate me now. But
hey, Swags!
But yeah, so that was awesome. We went into London, so obviously we were privileged enough to be close to London to have the opportunity to go from the start. We got to meet up with the people from, like, as I said, TF Nation and Triple Takeover Bunch. So it was like a mini TF Nation, really, TFN. And it was cool. I had a wonderful meal with Pete and Emma, you know, me and Mainline. So it was really nice. But then we got to go to see Transformer 1. We got into the queue. There was a massive queue. And everyone was really pretty enthusiastic. It was a massive mixed crowd. And it wasn't like, I don't recognize that person from the Transformer fandom. So it was really out there, you know, from all different epochs and, well, not epochs, different times.
How many
How old do you think we are?
Was it quite a big? Was it quite a big gathering? Like were there crowds?
Oh yeah, it was a massive queue. I mean, I did go up to say, "Excuse me, we're from Transformers' show. Do we really need to queue in a bit?" Yes. So okay, we went back. But yeah, it was just really exciting. The thing was, we were in the queue and people in front of you were talking about it, and it was just good, and it was good meeting other people as well, which you just hadn't seen before, and meeting familiar faces. But we got inside and we had to sign some forms to make sure, you know, we understood not to do a review and not to spoil things for other people. We got inside, we had a place to put our mobile phones. There was free drink. There was not like alcohol, there was you know, sparkling water, and there was popcorn. And I think the biggest dilemma was trying to work out, is it the free stuff on the right side or the left side of the seat, you know? But we managed to figure that out by just taking both sides. But it was good. And the Paramount UK, this is the guys who were giving it all the free tickets and stuff, they put on a little wee show. They did a quiz. It was nice, handed out some presents. Mainline won something, so that meant I won something, really. It was good.
Everyone loves it. Everyone loves the quiz. It's amazing. Did you say that you had to put your mobile phones in somewhere?
Yeah, well, what I was trying to say was some of the free stuff we got there was a popcorn, and we got popcorn, I should say. We got a poster, and we got a sort of special coin. as well. There was the prize I won. I won a Transformers toy. Well, Mainline did win because she had a star beneath her feet, which I did spot, so I made her sit there. I thought there must be something about that star. We got some posters. There's 2 posters in there. Those are the posters there, kind of like I think Chris, you actually did a tweet about this, didn't you?
Not these posters, no, I don't think so.
I think, is it someone else who said it'd been done better? But was it The Dark Knight or something?
No, not me.
Oh, must be someone else.
Is it the same cave then that they use for Dark Knight?
Well, it's the idea is you got Optimus Prime's sort of silhouette behind him, and you got Megatron's silhouette behind him, and they're like, what we kind of remembered. There was a sort of model people there, Agora models, showing you the sort of Optimus Prime. I was allowed to take photos of that. I had to ask permission to make sure. So that looked quite cool. Some good stuff there. The kids loved that. The kids were so excited running around and just being able to see this stuff. And then you had Fanatic. I think it's called Fanatic. This is the person who did the coins, and he does other stuff as well. So it was good. It was nice to see there was some touches there, and there was things for you to see before the event started. And there was some more presents. Someone actually won that Titan.
Wow.
Yeah, I believe it was Jala guy, Callum Tozer of TF Wiki, a TF Nation attendee. I saw him post that he won the tidal wave. As if I wasn't already furious enough that I wasn't there.
I mean, I saw the reality. There was kids standing up. He was pushing them out of the way to steal fans. It was like, I don't know, D-Day landings all over again, the beach over my hat. But he got his present.
Like TF Nation early access.
Yeah, and there was Void Rival comics. It was just good stuff, and the kids were enjoying it.
That's a nice cross section of stuff, though. Even to see like the Void Rivals comics and everything. It's they're just kind of synchronizing all the toys, comics, film all at once. It's nice to see just some thoughts gone into it. Clearly.
Yeah, I mean that's what I did like about it. And I'll tell you what, when we were in the queue, the staff will come in to sort of speed things up by taking you away to sign things a bit quicker, so to stop a big queue starting to form. And the staff was superb. They were good humoured, they were fun. They took you through things. It was really nice. It was just a really lovely atmosphere, and everyone seemed to be smiling. And I think I want Pete to talk about this because I've said enough. So Pete, you do the legal part now, which could potentially get you in trouble.
So we were asked that whilst Paramount would encourage us to put our reactions to the film on social media, that they would prefer it. I think legally, as it wasn't the finished version. They reckon there were 99% there. There wasn't the finished version, so please refrain from doing reviews and stuff.
I did actually have a question about that, about it not being the finished version, because I know that was also the case with the version that was shown at that French cinema convention, like last month or however long ago that was. When they say that was it Cannes?
Yeah, my friend went to it. Not the festival, not the showing. Sorry.
No, shame. When they say it wasn't a final version, I mean, does that mean that there were it was any unfinished or early animation or animatics or anything like that, or was it all
I think from our perspective, it looked like a finished film.
It looked finished.
There was nothing that was glaringly obvious. There wasn't like, with 10 minutes to go, there was 2 minutes
all done by the editing, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, she used the phrase was that some scenes, which were probably going to be so fast, might not be color corrected precisely. And I was saying, I can spot this. I couldn't. So I just looked completely finished to me. But I'm quite old. But it was. I just felt spoiled. I'll tell you the truth. I felt spoiled. I felt so privileged we got to see this film, and I really enjoyed it. And we went to the pub afterwards, which is a great British tradition after the cinema, with a lot of other people, and everyone is smiling. And I even sought out some of the negative people like Jermaine, and he was really ecstatic. He was really ecstatic. He was, but he made a sort of semi-negative comment on YouTube. Obviously, I've been flippant, and he was really ecstatic. Everyone was quite happy. It's like it's a new beginning for new fans, and it's good. And a lot of the guests, I could hear some people talking. They're looking forward to seeing it again with their children.
Mm.
And
I think that's
and Mainline, and everyone knows how dour Mainline can be. Mainline was smiling; she really enjoyed this. She thought I was taking her out on a cheap night. No, it was a high quality movie I was taking her to, and she really enjoyed it as well. And that was the only concern I had, was hopefully they get bums and seats.
Yeah,
because people are going to enjoy what they see.
Yeah, the most frustrating thing is when people commit to something, like have a ticket or something, and they don't turn up. Like, because again, like a friend of mine used to work in journalism, and then whenever he couldn't go because I was a massive car, he was a car fan. He always gave me his ticket, and then on recipient to that, I gave him a review of whatever it was, or made a video for him to go on his channel. So it was win-win because he could then do more things. And
anyway,
I got cool stuff.
So the film was excellent. The film was excellent, and I think the spoiler is that people were expecting it to be negative. They were expecting it to be a reboot that didn't make sense. It was fantastically written. The animation is amazing. They've done a really good job with the storyline, and I think if you are a lifelong fan like we are, there are plenty of Easter eggs. If you're not, it's still a coherent story with fantastic animation. The voice acting is on point. It truly was good.
We enjoyed ourselves. It was a good time, and at the end of the day, if that's what matters, me and Pete enjoyed ourselves. We're not lucky or privileged. We're just better, and that's why we got to see this. That's what you were saying.
Where's that kick button gone again?
but I said to Pete, "You're wrong there, Pete. We're not. We're just very lucky."
Same old Pete.
My legal advice suggested that I did not say that live on the internet.
But we did feel honorably lucky, and it was twice lucky because it was also a really good film as well. And there's not much more you can say apart from going into the realms of really getting the best.
I guess test the time, right? Are you going to go see the finished article?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that was
and the other thing was people were going, "I'm going to buy the toys." Because now there's something tangible they can grasp onto. Before they weren't interested in the toys. Now they're going, I'm actually going to buy some of the toys. I'm going to buy some of those Yodel toys now. Not Yodel. Is it Yodel?
YOLO.
YOLO Park.
YOLO Park. Yeah. YOLO Park. They're going, I'm going to buy some of those. They look immense. Now they had something they can grasp onto. And that
Are they doing model kits as well? Are they doing the model kits?
Yeah, there's some in the news, but we'll get to that. Can I just ask one question? Because a few people seem to have made this comparison or have been asked about it, and somebody's asked it in the chat. How does it compare to the 1986 movie? If you had to rank it,
I would say.
I'm not saying is it better, because I think that's very difficult.
I would say what I said to Mainline. I would say as me, if I was watching it, I would say, I love the 1986 movie. I think it's best. It's got a brilliant place in my heart. If my one of my nephews was to watch a 1986 movie, he'd be going, well, the animation's not as great as some of the newest stuff out there. He'd be critiquing it from a different viewpoint. And I think this Transformers 1 is like a new beginning of this current era. And I think kids are really going to enjoy it. And I think it's standing on itself. And there was so many bits where you're like, I'm not happy about this part. And then, this is what they've done now. Oh, I actually quite like that change now. Now I understand why. I'm happy now. Oh, yeah, there's lots of bits. And I can't say some of the stuff because it was obviously spoiled. And I loved it. I love the tongue-in-cheek against Bayverse as well, with what they do. I can't.
Careful there.
Careful there. I know what they're going to say because my answer to because when we were asked about when you entered the conversation, you asked why do you want to go see it? What makes you want to go see it? And then my answer was, I'm looking forward to it because it's the first modern Transformers movie that we've had that resets and puts into a new era with brand new characters, brand new story arcs, and doesn't try to be anything like the original. It's actually trying to lay brand new ground, and is excited to see what new characters and what new story arcs that we're going to be grasping onto and talking about the next 40 years about. And this is the beginning of a new. This is the new beginning of a new age. And I still didn't fucking win.
I think if you went back a couple of episodes, you did not say that.
I was going to say, I saw your tweet, and
You
you
read
said
that. And then when you realised we'd all said that, you went and said
10
you changed your
words.
mind.
I didn't read yours. I didn't read.
You lying git.
You're under NDA.
Anyway,
I
it
think-
all sounds very positive, doesn't
Yeah,
it? That's the good
it was-
thing. For those of
it
us
was
who
done
haven't
really
seen
well.
it yet, who still get to enjoy that first experience now, because you guys can't do that again. I mean, you can watch it, but it's not the first time again. We get
There's
to
always a
enjoy it,
first
and it
time.
sounds like it's
Your cherry is broken.
Well, you know what?
oh,
I don't
delightful
think
way of putting it.
I was lucky to watch it in good company with good friends and then Pete. And, you know, but I was
Brilliant.
lucky and the privilege with Mainline as well. So it was enjoyable. It was an enjoyable evening.
It was nice that you got to share it with your partners as well. I think that's quite a nice thing. 'Cause,
Yeah.
you know, it is nice when they take an interest in the same things that we do. So why the hell not? Pete, is there anything else you want to add? Sorry, before we finish up.
No, I think they've just set it up lovely. I can imagine in 2 years' time, there's spin-off series, there's more films. They've done a really good job at laying a foundation of a new world, in my mind.
A new
There you go.
universe. Yeah.
All right, smarts.
Lovely. It has transformed. Lovely. Shall we do some news then?
Oh, nice one, Andy.
Actual news.
I like that one.
Hey, on brand. That's if nothing else, then that. Right, let's do some news. We always start with the mainline news, so why should we change now? So this is from the official Hasbro Hong Kong Facebook. This is Battle Damage Studio Series SS112 Deluxe Transformers 1 Optimus Prime for their market. This was available from the Hasbro Hong Kong Fan Expo today. So according to this, it was available today. Now, I don't know if some of these will turn up on our, usual independents who sometimes get hold of a few of these. But the cost is 3,000 Hong Kong dollars, which works out at 384 US dollars. So you can do the working out to figure that out as pounds, I suppose. Any thoughts on this? I mean, it's basically the the mainline toy, isn't it? But with
Dirty.
dirty deco. I wasn't going to say dirty deco, but okay, that'll go with that.
As I said earlier, before I wasn't that interested. Now I am. So I've got to think about it now. Because it means a lot more now, this character.
I know, but that's a lot of money to pay for a happy memory. I don't know.
I mean, that's a
No, not like that. Oh, get your mind out the gutter, Peter. Sorry, go on.
It's a pretty extensive deco. Just even when you showed that first picture there, I didn't realize it was the Studio Series toy.
Yeah.
That looks like a hand painted
masterpiece
with all the little weathering effects and the
It's
highlights.
very premium, isn't it? Apparently, each box is numbered, as you will see in a moment.
Yeah.
There's according to this, 230 units worldwide. So if you're going to get one,
wow.
you
And
need
it
to get
looks
in
like the
there
real
early.
thing. Because remember when we first
There
saw, was it War for Cybertron RC? And then we got the finished product and it was completely different from what it was originally going to be. But this looks good.
You also could get, if you were there, a Transformers coin and collectible card.
They do
For
love their
purchase-
coins
purchases,
over
they
there,
do.
don't they?
They do. Yeah. You had to spend 500 Hong Kong dollars though to actually get one, which only actually is 64 US dollars to get one of those. And you also could get some playing cards, which were seriously 102 US dollars.
What?
Yeah, that's what it works out as.
I like how it's
Are you
it's,
literally buying them for that, or like with because normally with those coin things, it's like if you spend X amount of dollars on a bunch of
Oh,
stuff,
sorry,
you
yes.
get the coin. Is that
I
the same?
apologize. It does actually say you had to spend that amount to get it. Yeah, so you
What
had to
is that
spend
here
$102
with the cards?
to get some.
Well, they do,
God, I was
they
going to
do-
say $102 for a pack of cards.
They do
Wow.
give coins with all the masterpiece figures, or they did with masterpiece.
Yeah.
The
They
thing,
don't,
right?
they don't anymore, though,
And
do they? Has that
no,
stopped?
well, they did. I don't. It depends where you buy it from, right? And it's interesting as well because it's now Triptyqueen. So
Oh,
on the
Jesus.
card. On the,
Oh,
on the playing
okay.
cards.
Get the sad trombone. Right, we move on quickly, rapidly.
and joyously. So this is from the official Unix Square Facebook account. This is basically, it's like a construct bot, so you have to put it together. It was originally said to be non-transformable. There's also a Starscream, but actually, because of the kit nature of it, you can take the kit back apart and put it together so that you have an alt mode. Reconstruct.
Oh, clever.
Simple, so yes,
simple Lego. Simple Lego.
And the prototype was on show at that Hong Kong. Oh, I wish we had the
What were you watching last night? Hong Kong number 5.
You've got your Hong Kong.
Oh, yeah.
Now say Bangkok.
Bangkok. Yeah, it's on show there. So you could see it, but we haven't had any other photos. These are the official photos that we've had so far. And then we had YOLO Park with their G1 Starscream model kit, which is die cast and obviously designed to be cartoon accurate. So for those of you who like your cartoon accuracy, this may very well be something that makes you want to pick this up. Different faces
right
on
now.
it as well.
It's available now right now from Showsy's store.
$49.99. It seems cheap.
Using a
Lighting
certain
up
code, maybe TF Show code.
3 interchangeable faces. Comes with all the usual bits and gubbins that you expect from something like this. I'm assuming, is that supposed to be a bit of battle damage, or is that? Yeah, let's assume it's battle damage. Posable.
Just dropped it.
Firing nipples, which is what we're all after. So if Dave's in the chat, and I know he will be, there's one for you, Dave. That's his missile launchers, isn't it? Comes with a flight stand. Comes with all the bits and gubbins you'd expect, really.
Are you into these, Chris? Are you into model kits?
No, not much for the model kits or the non-transforming stuff, to be honest. Lovely looking, but I don't have the. It's one of those cases where I don't have the space in my life for it. You know.
Yeah.
Not a knock against the product. I'm certainly not one of those it doesn't transform, so I don't want it kind of guys. It's just a long time ago decisions had to be made about what can and can't be part of the collection. You know.
I made the same decision
struggle
with my love life as well. That's why I've only got one partner just now. You know, and I tell Mainline.
I hope Mainline's watching this. Anyway, we covered this. Yeah. We covered this fairly extensively in our little short video on Wednesday, so I won't go through it too much. But just for the people at home, why have we got pictures of Galvatron?
Oh, because he looks cool.
Jamie, you sound strange.
Well, we got pictures of Galvatron because there was an Amazon listing of Studio Series 86 Galvatron. And the big dream is, the hope is, that it's only leader class, but we're still hoping it's going to be a new mold. He's going to be slightly bigger, and he's going to be about the size of the Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime. We hope that it's down to the plastic, because obviously Galvatron's not going to have like a trailer like Optimus Prime does, or like Ultra Magnus had. So we're hoping, fingers crossed, it's just not a repaint where it's a slightly different color of purple, but it's actually going to be a slightly new mold, maybe upscaled. At least has hands that open and close. It'd be a minimal, and that's what we're hoping for.
I mean, the other figures
seems like a bit of a wild hope to me, to be honest. You know, when you look at the when you look at the Springer, you know, they realized, you know, they pretty much did it with Siege. So the best they could do was just tweak it a bit and release it again with some extra bits. And this one isn't even trying to go up a size class. So I think pale purple redo of Kingdom Galvatron with the shoulders attached the right way is probably.
I look at the Optimus Prime and I see how they've done re-engineered it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a completely new toy.
Yeah.
The other ones that they've announced is, not announced, but with the Amazon listings gave us, was an 8-Link, which is a redeco of the Optimus Primal from Rise of the Beast, the Studio Series one, and Warp Cybertron Skywarp, a redeco of Voyager Starscream, which we've had previously, the Gamer Edition one. And then the other thing was Double Punch, which is going to be a red redeco of the Beast Wars, Rise of the Beast Deluxe Scorponok, to call back to the old days of Beast Wars Double Punch. But some people were hoping we might get something in this color scheme as well. I don't know whether that would be likely, but you know.
Well, given that there is the concept art for the Scorponok recolors that gives them give them the names from the production of the film. I mean, none of the toys. I would say, yeah, it'll just be based on that rather than anything accurate.
Yeah. Well, there is the Beast Wars Double Punch apparently. So there you go. So we had that. TF Nation. We all love a bit of TFN, and they've announced that Blockies are doing exclusive giveaways at TFN this year.
Hey, I'm not the only guy who's been pronouncing that blokies up until this week, right?
Agreed. This
looks like blokies, but it just didn't sound right. Blokies. No, it just didn't sound right to me.
But they're just little blokes.
Yeah.
Look at them. Exactly, just we guys.
Blokies is what the educated man calls them, Chris.
That's what we are in the bar, blokies.
Like they're not blocky.
Agreed.
Take it up with the people at TFN.
Speak the truth, Chris. Speak the truth.
Go on, son. Anyway, so you can get those. Maybe not Chris now, but there are other people can get them at TFN. There's information on the TFN website and on their social media, so go have a look if you're interested in that. Not now, though. We have had another in-hand look at the upcoming Legacy United G1 Universe Soundwave.
Oh, he looks good.
This is the wonderful Noctrab, who does a lot of good photos of these upcoming figures. I realise we've had this before, but
this is new paint, right? Is it just new paint? Is it new paint from the last one, or is it anything different about this one?
Is the paint a different shade? I think it is, isn't it?
Well, they've matched, at the very least, they've matched the door and the chest stripes, which didn't match on the Earthrise, the Netflix version. And obviously, the Netflix was one of the ones that was afflicted with the rapid yellowing, so this one will be nice for that.
It very much looks like the Takara version in the latest box set. I just wonder if the legs are going to be like the Takara version, because the Takara version, the legs don't.
Is the mold going a bit on that?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still having trouble justifying the notion of buying it, to be honest, because there's just so many of these little incremental changes happening. The same with Springer, you know.
I'm so glad you mentioned it, Chris. I completely agree with your opinion there. It's nice that there's a fresh opinion in the group today.
I didn't. I blinked and then I thought, yeah, I'm getting this.
but go back a picture there though. Like, what is that? Seriously though, like, that's not a tape play. What is that? You know. That's not.
You have cassette players in Northern Ireland. Have you got that?
I have the Netflix one. But
Chris,
come on,
you can come, Chris. You can come every week, mate. Every week for the news. Just for the news. My hero.
Just because Alexis likes to slag off Hasbro. That's all.
Please listen to him, because he says valid intrinsic comments where you just go, I don't like colour, and then smash fist.
I say the same thing.
No, you don't. You're liar.
One at a time.
Anyway, you can pick this up, and it's totally up to you whether you feel the incremental changes are enough for you to do so.
If you're a collector.
Then, don't start with that again. So then, SDCC happened, and one day I'll get to go to it. But anyway, there's loads of photos of the Hasbro, not reveals, but the Hasbro booth and everything they had on display, including another re-release of G1 Prime, this time the original kind of G1 Prime style toy in a G1 style box. Now, Chris, I'm sure you have picked up on differences in this that the regular viewer may not have. So how close is this to the original?
Oh, well, this is the cartoon colors version, so he doesn't seem to have chromed parts. I guess his smokestacks and his gas tanks seem to be chromed, and I think his grill is too, but they've changed his waist and his thighs so that they're solid white to look like the cartoon. He's got the gray toes instead of the lights, and they've taken the gray stripe off his biceps, which will look a bit odd in truck mode, I would have thought. But no, I like this as a concept. I have no compulsion to own it, but I like it as a concept.
We have got some more photos of it as we go on. They had a lot of the new stuff on show for people to have a look at, including the Ruckus and Bludgeon 2-pack. There's the box. There's a bit of a better picture of it there.
You'd kind of hope he does come with his original sticker sheet, if only so you could gussy up the trailer a bit.
Yeah, it looks a bit plain inside.
Yeah, this is kind of the same problem with the new Commander, to be honest, and the Earthrise one before it. You know, you got to get a bit of color in the trailer. Whenever you're taking out like the launcher and the firing missiles and everything that made the trailer a play feature, you splash a bit of color in it at least, guys.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, though, isn't it?
Unfortunately, from these photos, you can't clearly see this. But I mean, it just is the grey, like you said, that grey line that goes around the side of the truck just stops. So
Is it the same? Is it the same trailer as the new? It looks very similar to the actual trailer as Chris pointed out. Like
No, it's
based
the
on the
G1
original.
trailer. It's just
they're different sizes, though, right? They're different sizes, though, are they?
Oh yeah, the new one. I saw a picture of the new one today, and it looked much bigger than the earliest photos sort of made it appear to my eyes.
Okay.
Well, we will be getting to the new Studio Series Prime.
Yeah, probably the same pictures I'm talking about then.
The deluxe one, which we have seen revealed already. Little deluxe one. And then this one. Now, we've since had some more in-hand photos, which are later on, but they were a little later coming in. But I mean, you can see
It just looks sexy, doesn't it?
Does look
It's
good.
by me now.
Yeah,
I don't mind that backpack. I know people have commented on the backpack, but there's a bit in the film when he's a bit after from the cut scene when he'd slammed, I think it was Dirge into the ground, and he's getting back up again, and he kind of has.
Oh, Prime's got a bit of a backpack. It's not inaccurate. Yeah.
It's not invisible hand syndrome, is it? It's not VHS level of badness. I don't think it's just you would just tuck it in a little bit more, wouldn't you? But
I know you commented
in.
I know you commented in the last one when you saw this against the Masterpiece. The Masterpiece has a backpack because of the electronics for the voice. The fourth party one has a very cartoon accurate backpack, which is very slim, which is slimmer than this. So this one does have a slightly bigger backpack, but probably due to the way that it transforms. And Paul, you pointed out last week as well, the cab mode is spot on, and I agree with you, Paul. I think the cab mode,
it's underrated, isn't it? The cab mode, really nice.
100%.
It looks awesome.
And the nice thing is, if you really like these pictures, you really think he's good, you can't get him because he's sold out.
Yes, I didn't rush to put a pre-order in, and I really didn't expect it to disappear with quite the alacrity that it has done. Although I
thought Amazon.
It was on Amazon UK.
I think we posted it. It's sold out on there as well now.
Right.
It might have done. Feel free to check. But
I mean, surely this must be one of those. What do they call them? A level, A tier. What have they been calling them on the streams? Stuff that they're going to make sure is consistently available.
Yeah,
the Studio Series Bumblebee was one of them. I can't remember what the term they used to describe them was, but it's. I mean, it's hard to imagine they wouldn't try and make that one more widely available or more consistently available.
Can't see it on Amazon. It's not there.
They also showed off, as we said before, some of the new stuff. So Bludgeon and Ruckus were there for people to be able to see.
Ruckus looks good. I'm excited for Ruckus.
Yep.
Before I forget, I just want to say thank you to TFW 2005 Toy Arc / His Tank for the photos, because they were the people who were there and took these so that we could all have a look and enjoy them. So credit where credit's due. I love Ruckus. It looks awesome, and I don't even mind the slightly dodgy looking feet. I don't care. I shall still buy.
I like the fact that they actually done the guns better than they did for Crankcase. Crankcase is rubbish.
The Trichicon guns coming up above his shoulders.
It was almost like he's like, you know, he was stunted because it was cold or something like that. He just hadn't fully extended.
He looks taller than Beach Camera as well. Like in Robert Mode,
definitely. Yeah, he's had some serious retooling.
Yeah, the IDW style bludgeon as well, which you know.
Yeah, I'm into this bludgeon. I didn't. Whenever that listing leaked originally, after we had the thing where remember the one Mayhem pack was mislabeled in the leaks as Knockout and Windsweeper, and it turned out to be Breakdown. I kind of thought for a long time the bludgeon listing must be wrong too, because what were they even going to do to the bludgeon toy? To, you know, people were saying, "Oh, do it in a comic accurate." And like, okay, so a slightly different maroon and orange version of the same toy. And then this came along, and I was like, "Oh, well, yeah, okay, that's actually that's something you've done there. I like that."
Yeah,
I would never have guessed it, but I like it a lot.
But his face looks as always. It looks like me eating spaghetti bolognese.
Yeah,
just like I'm trying, finish that meal.
It does, but it is accurate to what you saw in the comic.
It's IDW accurate, completely.
Stormbringer.
Mark said that he modelled it on Jamie eating spaghetti. That would be so much. He can't give him the throttle bots, but he can
Give him
make
that.
Bludgeon look like him.
And just look at that little beach buggy mode with.
Look at it.
It just looks so like late 80s, early 90s, doesn't it? It just reeks of it. That
Oh, it's beautiful.
purple with the beige, the light
Is his
beige.
gun still
Lenny
the
beige.
bumper? The front bumper.
Oh, that's an interesting question. I don't know. I haven't
They
seen
put it on the
photos.
roof there,
Oh,
like
honestly,
a
yeah.
bunch of idiots. I wonder if it's supposed to still
Just left
connect
it
with front or not.
there.
Up your game, people.
I just love the
Uh,
colours. Yeah.
And there was a lot of other stuff on the show that we've seen before, but we'll have a quick
And there's a very justified springer there. I'm just saying.
I'm looking forward to. Apparently, Mark's judging making the next Transformer face based on Jamie eating a hot dog. So I'm looking forward to that one. But not sure that's there.
That sounds naughty.
Straxus's alt mode. Straxus was there for people to have a look at. The
I'm not sure how you make that comment.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's sexual in that somehow.
It usually is.
Yeah.
Optimus Prime and Megatron, this 2-pack that they've got coming out. The French
Prime still looks good. That Prime, like
Yeah,
every
I'm
time I
gonna
see it, I
pick
think,
that up
yeah.
for the Prime, because I didn't pick up the Gamer Edition figure that it's a retool of, so I definitely want that. I think in an ideal world for me, it would be that Prime and the minor Megatron rather than this Gladiator version.
Yeah.
But no, yeah,
Because I tell you what, the Gladiator version I want is the one from the Transformers the Marvel UK annual, where he's got a gold chest plate. You know, that's the Gladiator I want with that golden axe. That's it.
Tell them, Jamie.
That's
Tell
yeah.
them. Don't let them
You've
go
got a
sleep. on
fucking
this.
Bludgeon modelled after you. What more do you want?
Animated
That
Motormaster
modelled
as
after
well,
you, Pete.
which does look good.
That made me laugh.
And then that should lead us into the Omega Prime prototype that they had there, which people were very excited because it's being confirmed, it comes with Cerebros. Now, Chris, you might be able to help me with this because I'm not an RID 2001 kind of fan. My understanding is people are excited because they think this might lead to is it Brave Maximus?
I mean, it seems pretty unlikely to me that this means anything other than that they wanted to put a Titan Master into, interact with the Titan Master. Well, he can stand in the fire engine's bucket, things like that. There's space for Titan Masters on the set.
So there you go, people. Hopes and dreams crushed.
It just doesn't seem very likely, I mean, when they just reissued Titan's Return Fortress Maximus, it seems like
Has that actually come out? Has that?
I don't even know. Has it? I don't
know there was
know.
pre-orders and lots of people.
Up in America, it wasn't here. Not
It's like
here.
they suddenly found some old ones lying around and went, get them out the door.
Kind of what it felt like, right? For $60 more than it was there.
Did you go in for this?
I did not.
Anybody
I didn't
else?
go in for it the first time round, to be honest. Didn't go in for it the second time either.
I'm glad it's not just me.
It was my first Transformer, which actually brought me back into the fandom and collecting. Saw it in Tesco for like 60 quid.
Oh,
Well, I mean, that'll do it, I was in a situation where I simply had no money when that thing came out originally, and even when it turned up in what was it? A1 Toys were selling it off for nothing at one point.
Yeah.
Couldn't get it at the time. Would have got it for that, but I still wouldn't have paid $150 for it,
Yeah.
So I got it from A1 Toys because Greg got it for me because that's when he started investing in Primetime Toys before it was called Primetime Toys. He got a load of them for a load of people and they helped ship them all out around the UK. So that was his first endeavor, which is very, very cool.
It's like, not to go off on a whole tangent here, but it's like core class, right? So that's gone. And it makes me wonder, how long is Titan class for the world? Because how many truly serious candidate characters are there left for something that big? I mean, and yes, you can list off a bunch of guys who are that big, but how many of them are like viable, sellable toys?
Speaking of guys that could have been big, but aren't.
But it wasn't the latest Titan. He was smaller than the other Titans before him. They're almost like downscaling it.
Well, that's the point, right? They're now
That's
starting
just-
to.
Yeah. And but
Chris-
like a redone Metroplex seems plausible. Like that's just long enough ago. It seems and subscribe to such a different design philosophy. It's possible you could see that one being done again, but it's hard to imagine another Fort Max being done again.
It might become like down to the amount of engineering they put into it and the amount of development. So you might get 2 packs, which are like Titan
I
class.
mean, the way some of these things are being done now, yeah, maybe like 2 really nice leaders or something. Well, gosh, that doesn't. That's well,
But you
a
could,
commander
you had,
and a leader.
You had,
Same
you had,
again.
you had
Okay.
Energon Omega Supreme, the yellow and blue one, which combined, that's probably one which would be quite popular. Mention what popular now. So, but again, like Chris, if you ever want to go on a tangent, then this is your show because we are the king of tangents.
You,
I am
you are the
Andy
king of
is the
tangents. You are the king of tangents.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dino King.
But I do see someone saying in the comments there about the possibility of selling complete combiner teams as Titans, and I don't think the Titan class price point can support that.
It doesn't even need to be a combiner team. It could just be, I don't know, Photobots just throwing that out there randomly.
What, a Titan class price point?
But Titan
there's-
like
anyway.
There's
I
a little
don't
bit of
think you
controversy.
can get a 5 or 6 man team at the
200 quid.
standard, at modern standard for the price of a Titan. What are they doing? There's the leaks say they're doing Constructicons in Studio Series next year.
Yeah.
That's 6 Voyagers. What's that? Actually, that is about the price of a Titan.
Yeah,
Well,
actually, that would be about £200.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It would be about,
yeah, actually, yeah. Toys are expensive. Anyway, Dino King.
Well,
But they make you
on,
feel so good.
on that point, there's controversy around this.
Shall we?
This is £80, isn't it?
80.
80
yeah, but
apparently.
then
Don't be.
the cost of these core class
yeah.
figures is like between £10 and £15 each normally anyway. So is £80 for an exclusive set of them probably isn't.
Well, that's a sort of a whole other discussion, isn't it? Because flipping these things aren't worth 10 quid. Core class, class. I'm not sad core class is gone because core class has never justified its cost, at least in the UK. I can't speak to the American mindset and $10.
Chris,
But these things are 11 quid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
pets.
core class will be there in the other packs. You might have a sexy Irish accent, but you're wrong. Core class is always going to be there.
This
It's going to
will
be there
be
because
I
they're
think you
never
make
going to
little
stop giving us
packs
Sound Wave. Sound Wave will be
but-
there every month. A new mold of Sound Wave of a slightly
I
different
would
age
buy
and
this
tone.
for my child. This is a good main birthday Christmas for my child. Like, he loves dinosaurs, loves robots, combining them. Dino King was like the ultimate combined pretender dino.
You love dinosaurs.
Yeah,
That's the
you wouldn't even
truth.
let him play with them.
Your children don't have a choice. Anyway, there
Not
they
the
are.
eyes, not the hands.
Dino King. I
Yeah, like-
can't remember the names of all in Japanese, but there they are.
Yeah, well, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm having this. But core class just in general is like,
Yeah.
it's too expensive, but I'm having it.
But that's the thing, Chris. You can
I'm making an
criticize something,
exception.
but still buy it because you want it. The 2 things don't have to be exclusive, do they? Anyway,
This is the only this is the only representation we've had apart from the original toy version, and there was one third-party version made by Fans Project, which was decent in robot mode, and they actually sold the shells as well for the actual Pretender if you wanted it, which were very expensive.
Did they get
But-
through all the shells?
I thought they did. But I thought they were just rare to pick up. They're like, the distribution.
Really don't know. I'm just curious because it seemed like a sort of a fool's errand, but
Because they did Monstructor after, they did the same mold, and they used it for Monstructor as well. And I bought the Monstructor mold, and then I put it together, and the hips just go. It's like
Talking monstructors
Guys,
and
moving
absolute
on.
monsters. This
I just
actually
look at
looks
that
really
figure there.
scary.
This is
I'm
the
just
from
looking at that
Hong
figure there,
Kong
and it-
2024 3-0 Transformers
He doesn't
displays.
look happy, does he? He looks like
that's
he didn't get
lockdown.
to see. He looks like he didn't get to see Transformer 1 last night.
Chat it. Lockdown from Age of Extinction. They had other things on display like the Rise of the Beasts
Mirage.
figures that they've got coming out.
Cool, they look good.
The Transformers 1 figures.
That looks good. That looks good.
I think the Elita one is still a grey model one, but they had Megatron there and Bumblebee. There's Lockdown, another angle of the Lockdown,
Still
which is
angry.
incredibly detailed.
Yeah.
And there's Elita, just hanging about there.
Alita.
Great.
Chilling. Getting ready to
Elita.
punch.
And
Hey, how are you?
is it a Rise of the Fallen? Is that Rise?
No, Rise of the Beast,
Revenge
I
of the
think
Fallen.
it is.
Sorry. Is that the right?
Oh
That's
no,
not
it's
Beast
not.
Prime,
You're
is it?
right. It's not. Yeah, it's not Rise of the Beast Prime. It's not.
Well,
that-
one of the Bayverse
have
movies.
Last night, Nemesis
Yeah.
Prime.
There you
Yeah.
go. And they had this.
He's
Can't
got
buy.
windows on his chest though, and they didn't have those in the last night.
I
No,
thought
is it
it was
last
more
night?
Revenge of the Fallen.
Revenge of
maybe
the
after
Fallen, isn't
movie.
it?
Yeah.
Is it?
Hooray! I was right.
Hmm.
Anyway, this Matrix you can't buy, which is really annoying. It's a one-off thing they've made, and that was on display at SDCC to promote Transformers 1. And it glows and shimmers and stuff, and you can't buy. I bet people. I know Jamie would buy this. I mean, he'd probably buy a few, but
I am a
it's
Robertson
awful that you
collector.
can't buy it. So Hasbro,
Oh, for real. Oh, I broke it.
Oh no!
oh,
fix
brilliant!
it. There we go.
Live.
Oh no! Oh,
And
it doesn't
then-
do that again. It does do
All
that.
right, moving on. We'll come back to that later. They did this reveal for a G.I. Joe crossover. So this
It must be weird to be able to hold something in your hands, Alexis.
This is their. Is it Cup? They're calling it. This is going to be Cup, basically. That transforms
Yeah.
the vehicle, and then Sergeant Slaughter, and I don't know the other figure off the top of my head.
I'm not sure who the other guy is. It's Sergeant Slaughter's Triple T is the vehicle. I'm not sure who the other Joe is.
So I
I'm good now.
believe it's
All right,
Cup
it's working.
that's the actual robot for this one.
Yeah.
So there you
So,
go. You can
yeah.
kind of make out the Cup head. on
It's
there.
a vehicle mode. That USA sign almost is a little bit stark on me, but the vehicle mode lends itself, doesn't it, to being a Transformer? It's just such a cool vehicle mode to do that you'd never get in any other alt mode outside of G.I. Joe.
And we're getting
last
that,
night.
soon.
Last night, G.I. Joe, new HasLab came out.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it did. It's the.
It's not the ship,
The Rattler,
the big
isn't
ship.
it?
Yeah,
No, it's the blue sort of bomber plane. I've forgotten to
Yeah,
look
the
at
Rattler.
It because obviously,
Yeah, the Rattler.
yeah.
What's
Because
the ship
obviously I was
called?
doing
The
something else
USS
last night,
the
which I don't
flag.
think I mentioned.
The flag.
Flag.
Yeah, the USS Flag. Yeah,
That would be
Oh,
awesome.
that'd be
That
massive.
would be a HasLab.
Yeah.
I would need a
That's
bigger bathtub because you'd have to play with it in water, wouldn't you?
You'd have to be living in it, Jamie. Get a canal. You have to be that size. Anyway,
You
we
guys
move on 'cause
bothered
this
with
is-
any of these Joe crossovers?
They do look good, but Jamie, you said the X-Men crossover with the X-Men jet. It looks so
shit.
good, and when I got it, it was just like this is just a mess.
Yeah.
And I think
I
Jamie
like
said
that
the
one,
same
to be honest.
sort of one. With the
Yeah,
Hiss
'cause
tank, was it the Hiss tank you had?
Yeah, I've got the HasLab his tanks, and I didn't really like the idea of the G.I. Joe crossover because the trouble was, originally the 3.75-inch figures which we were using were updated, so they had like arb crunch and stuff like that. But then for some reason they decided let's go back to vintage when it was a bit pish and give them rings again and
I don't
and
really
stuff.
understand that, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm not a Joe guy, so I can't pretend to understand, and if it feels pointless to even criticize it, but I don't really understand why you want your toy made out with something in it that rots and decays.
Yeah. Because when you had the Star Wars equivalent get better and even more detailed with even more articulation, they went backwards with the G.I. Joe figures, and then people just didn't want to buy the 3.75-inch anymore. I think if they had the original 3.75-inch, which everyone was excited about and buying, these crossovers would have been selling like hot plates, but no.
I'm not sure.
Updates.
I mean, obviously, they're doing well enough that they're doing. I mean, this
I don't even know
Cup
what that
one
means.
was leaked a little while ago, and
Yeah.
people were kind of didn't know what the story was with it because we didn't hear anything about it for a long time. But I guess they are bringing it out. And the fact that they are bringing it out seems to suggest they're doing okay. But I feel like in the UK we've wound up with a kind of a warped view on things like this because they were 45 quid in game for a while, and now we don't know what to
Yeah,
make of them
cheaper at
anymore.
times.
You know,
I think they got down to
Yeah.
25 quid over here.
Probably.
For
Game.
the Megatron, anyway.
It confuses you all the
well,
time.
it was
You
just
forget.
it was literally just Megatron, but
Yeah.
yeah.
You forget how
Okay.
much things are meant to be. You go to game and you see prices. You're like, oh, is that good? Is that
Unrealistic
bad?
expectations.
Yeah.
Sorry, so all those G.I. Joe crossovers, they're exactly like modern day Action Masters because you get the main figure, which is 3.75-inch non-transforming, and you get a vehicle which transforms into something which you think when it transforms goes meh. And that's exactly how I felt about Action Masters.
Anyway,
Sorry,
Takara exclusives. Products. Missing Link Sentinel Prime is what you're looking at here.
And there's the Rise
From
of the
Missing
Beast
Link
one at the
Optimus
bottom.
Prime. Yeah, Rise of the Beast one at the bottom.
Yellow Prime looks so.
You've got Super Starscream from Legacy Armada Starscream repaint, Nemesis Prime 40th Anniversary Studio Series Rise of the Beast Optimus Prime repaint, and TC01 Throne Collection Studio Series 86 Starscream.
I
Throne
want a
repaint.
life-size chair. That's what I
Do they-
want. I've got the Transformer chair right here.
Is it
Are they
life
actually
size?
selling that chair separately?
It doesn't really tell you. It just says Takara exclusive product. So I
They've
feel
raised
like
the
it
game.
might be.
I'm sat in it right now.
They have raised the bar. They're bringing out furniture. They're giving up on robots.
Oh,
You made a tweet about this, Chris. You did. You said something
Human
about
size.
These
These items will be sold at the venue in Tokyo for the Transformers 40th anniversary exhibition. It's unclear if they'll be available outside the event. So some people said, and Chris, again, you might know this better than me. Some people were saying on Twitter that this yellow Prime is because Prime, when the Ark sends out the satellite to explore, and it scans a truck, that truck has a yellow cab. And that's where this has come from, and they're calling it Sentinel Prime because he obviously.
That's what I've read. I'm not sure if that word has been given officially, but it certainly looks like it, and
it's a
I
theory
believe
that
it.
worked.
Yeah.
And then there's
I mean, I'm not sure about doing it. I mean, like I have sort of like missing link makes me feel funny. Like I love the idea of the missing link Optimus Prime. And then as soon as they announced the Bumblebee and Cliff Jumper, I was like, no, that's I'm done. I don't care anymore. Now it's like you've taken a wonderful you've taken a wonderful one-off special 40th anniversary idea, and you've turned it into the next line of collectibles that will never be complete.
And then
now you're doing a Sentinel Prime on nothing, you know.
Yeah,
covered it in piss.
Haven't you? A Dinobot missing link now from third party.
Although this is Takara, isn't it? So this is Takara who've done the missing link, and Takara who've done these recolors.
Are we still on the news?
Yeah. We're still on Mainline. We're not even We're looking at it.
Chris, I hope you haven't got work tomorrow. I'm really sorry.
I don't. I do have to do a podcast tomorrow, but
right. Let's crack on then. Let's speed through Flame Toys, Kuro Karakuri, Beast Wars, Megatron, and Diatlas, which again some people are very excited about. Ultra Magnus. Cool. There he is. Really cool. Crotch Thrust, as is standard. We have seen
him before.
Starscream, and his
both versions.
So you can change him around, and of course, also we have.
Does anyone ever actually do the crotch first? I don't know. I think I'd throw my back out. I don't know if I could do it.
I sometimes do the David Cameron power pose with my legs and why the part at work, just so people know I'm in charge. And then I walk off.
I think you try to do that in TF Nation. Do the crotch first. Will the David Cameron?
Let's all do it.
Pose.
Yeah. We'll all stand like that and just say nothing to anybody.
And then because we're still doing the fucking news.
I have to do the crotch first.
Not Trump has shared some photos of the Studio Series upcoming Prime. So these make
more.
Yeah, these are just
good. He's got a great face.
I might pick him up actually. He looks really good.
It also shows off, I believe, in the photos the storage for all the little bits and pieces because everything does store away. You can have it inside the cab. I believe you can open the back wheel back and you can tuck them in there, so you can have them in there. Although I imagine they'd be loose and rattling around.
The Masters did that. You put a little drawer out underneath the cab, the trailer, sorry, and you can put it all in there. It's really good.
And of course, the repair bay. Got to have a matrix with two massive fingers.
Tiny matrix.
And you get a few pictures that show off basically him in scale with other figures or sitting on his trailer, should you wish to have that pose. Is that from something? I don't know. And there you go. So what do you think? Scaling all right?
Awesome. It's superb. It's the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Brilliant. Jamie likes it. We move on. You can do that bit from the film. You can park cars inside him, and you can also have him next to the other Studio Series movie bots. And that is... Oh, there's the box. Sorry, forgot about the box. Lovely box art. Oh, lovely box art. There you go. Looking beautiful. Right, Mainline news. Let's do third party.
So was it San Diego Comic-Con? Is that why there's so much news?
There's been a load of stuff from San Diego Comic-Con and Hong Kong, whatever their Comic-Con thing is called.
Don't forget Hong Kong. There's a lot of Hong Kong.
Hong Kong, there was less news, but we had some.
All right, cool. Well, let's do some third party.
You tend... We're on our way there, with toys in the millions all under one roof. It's called Toys R Us. Soon after bedtime, when dark nighttime falls, Jeffrey and helpers stock up all the shelves.
Oh, sorry,
Not in the intro.
I was reading someone's.
Not in the intro.
I was just enjoying the music again.
Someone's
That
put
was
the
the wrong
main
music.
intro at the top. Sorry. I was reading
that's
someone's
funny.
comment about the music being released on digital, which is there, Sunstreak, a Titan for the music fans out there, and I completely forgot it's the wrong intro. So it's such a good intro that I have to do again. So here's the third-party news intro.
Battle this.
It's heavy metal cruncher time as Optimus Prime goes toe-to-toe with Combat Megatron. Prime is one tough dude underneath his hood. He's a transformer missile fun phenomenon. Combat Megatron is combat armed. His mighty mega missiles are slamming. He can mad out more for use mega force, but Combat Optimus is still standing.
No, we're looking to the show again.
Yeah. Start all over. Knockoff news. So, Mastermind Creations' upcoming R53 Tyrantron, their version of Stormbringer Megatron, and this is a version that actually has the more finalized colors. So you've got the black helmet and the black legs on it. We have seen photos of this before that were just kind of all silver. This apparently is further down the line to being completed. So Stormbringer based. We also have...
It's better artwork, isn't it? Because it doesn't look like a penis anymore on his chest.
Oh, the squirrely bits on his...
Yeah, they've improved. Well done.
Great Works Predaking and Headmasters. Now, there's a question mark over whether these are legend scale. These are on display at the Jinyanu Summer Toy Show.
That looks like a knockoff
these are
almost
from
of
TM
the... looks like a knockoff of the almost the MMC version of Feral Rex.
Yeah, it does look very similar, to be fair.
It's the legs.
Yeah.
It's the legs in combined mode.
And then we have Oculamax PS22 Ventus, which is blades, but only as an arm. So, you know, if you want to see what he'll look like as an arm when you combine him up as part of your Defensor, there he is. And that takes us on to this. Now, is this a new company?
It is. It's yeah, they're doing the Legends version of Photobots. This is Nosecone.
No, you mean Technobots, but yes. So it's
That's the one,
Nosecone
yeah.
from the Technobots. Don't say Throttlebots, Jamie will get excited.
was.
Don't give him false hope, goddammit. So Nosecone.
Looks good.
That's quite cool. Yeah. Very
Yeah,
interesting.
there's been one other version of third party, which was Make Toys, which is a very good bot. Combined mode.
It was stylized, wasn't it?
Rubber parts of the feet, yeah, it was stylized. The challenge was that the bots were so fiddly to put together in different modes. You had to fold the bits the right way. It was just so much hard work. This looks simpler, but then again, looks can be deceiving.
Anyway, it's Craftsman Toys, and this is called Drill. It's a
Who's he looking
legend
at?
scale Technobot.
Ooh, who's he looking at? That's a silhouette. Who's he looking at there? I can't see who's looking
Well,
at.
this is what we don't know, but it says down here to be continued, so I'm guessing it's the next one. Maybe
It looks like, I reckon, Strafe. I reckon
Here's
Strafe.
Computron with
Yeah.
Nosecone.
That's it. All of it. Anyway, there's the alt mode. Looks very drill tanky.
Sponsored by Charge and C minor. Carnage
And I
and C minor,
assume that
sorry.
bit is for the combination. But there
Yes,
you
it
go.
is.
And then we had New Age with their H63 Nidhogg, which is their shattered glass slug or slag, depending on what you want to call him. Yeah. What do you say? It's slag or slug.
Nasty.
Aren't these colors supposed to basically be like a photo negative of the like original color? Is that correct? Is that why we have these like strange kind of colors for these shattered glass figures? Does anybody know? I'm sure I heard
that
that
like
on
a negative, and New Age will go for any repaint they can. They're like worse than Hasbro, and their
They
paint
love the
finishes are so
flavours.
good. Like the paint finishes are sumptuous, but yeah, they'll go for any flavor.
At the end of the year, when they do the stock take,
It's,
there'll be lots and lots and lots of these left.
Go on, Chris.
What's in your
Shattered
are you-
glass Dinobot
Go on,
colors,
Chris.
isn't it?
Yeah, shattered glass Dinobots. Yeah. I mean, I like the color. I don't mind them. I think it's a nice combination. But
Well, you say that they are a combination because they are going to combine. So New Age do combine figures that don't combine. So they did. So no, it was actually Iron Factory, was it before? Oh yeah, no, that's blown my whole thesis. Fuck's sake. Yeah, it was Iron Factory. Iron Factory made the DJD that combined, didn't they? Yeah. Sorry, bollocks to it.
Yeah.
Never mind. Anyway,
right,
these guys combine.
Well-
Whatever. Move on.
I think it looks good. I wouldn't buy it, but I think it looks good. And if you want to buy it, you can at some point in the future. Now, that would normally just be the end of the news. There is one little thing that I'm going to chuck in here because we have a very creative fandom, Chris. And the other day on our stream, we were discussing your good self coming on, and I may have made a pun in which I refer to you as McWheely instead of McFeely.
Oh God!
Here's Lely from our chat, and he has his own channel here on YouTube. Lovely guy. He went to the trouble of creating Chris McFeely for you, so I just thought I'd share it with you so you can enjoy that.
Jesus.
The thing is, you'd think so, wouldn't you? It's incredible. It's so lifelike. But they didn't stop there. They didn't stop there. They went into a conversation.
Did it grow arms and legs?
Well, it was about whether or not any of us could have our names as puns. So
before we do that,
Mandy Wildrider.
Excellent. Look at you. Did you choose that photo? It's like the most handsome photo.
I do appreciate
the photo for that.
We'll chat about that at TFN, Paul. Thank you. No, but that was Bisto. So Bisto,
in my room.
Thank you very much for that. And then here's Lely. He wanted in on the act. Bit less flattering. And there's me as Wild Rider again, which is now put Luke and Monks of Zombie Workshop with his wonderful T-shirts. Luke and Monks has now said he feels like he's being left out of all this, and he should have had these ideas himself, and he might do some drawings and some designs. So I'm slightly scared as to what that might mean. But that is the end of quite possibly the most epic news session we have had in quite some time.
Well, to be fair, it was being very professional in telling people to move it along, and you guys just ignored them.
I'd like to think we were having a deep and interesting conversation with our lovely guest, Chris.
You were until Alexa started talking.
Alexis has been really good. Well done, Alexis.
I just wanted to ask, Andy, Chris, when you made your own figures, did you choose where the rub signs went?
Where's the sad trombone? You see, he was doing so well.
And it was funny. It made me laugh. It made me laugh. Right. So next. So what is it? We're only an hour in. Cool. Brilliant. So hour in. We've already done the news. We've got pickups now. So we're going to go through what we picked up this week, which is basically pickups. I guess it doesn't really need an introduction or an explanation.
We now return to the Transformers.
Right, Andy, do you want to kick us off? I'll go left to right. What did you get this week, mate?
I got absolutely nothing this week. I'm in the run up to TFN and my birthday, so I'm on a kind of no buying anything at the moment. I'm pre-ordering. I'm not buying.
That's why I'm not buying you anything for your birthday either, because I'm not buying anything.
God bless you for sticking to that, because you need to cut down on buying things for other people.
Happens every year, I think. We get to the TFN, don't we? Like the buy-ups dry up. Chris, I mean, you could just lie. You could put anything. But did you pick up anything this week, Chris?
I did have some pre-orders come through. Yeah, I got the first of the new Mayhem sets. Wind Sweeper and what's his name? Breakdown and Barrage and Chop Shop came in as well. And Filch too from the Starseeker. I don't think she was the week beforehand from the new Star Raiders wave.
She's a good figure. I like.
Once Andy told me what Filch was, I just
I don't think it was me.
You did. You went, look, it's one of my most searched things.
You googled it, as I remember.
Is that why you guys spent all that time that 1 week off the show together?
Till Laura one asked, are we selling the Transformers t-shirts at TFN? I don't think we are. I think you have to order them.
No, you have to pre-order.
Pre-order.
There's only a couple of days left to order, and I think I've got
we got the ticker.
There it is. So if you do want one, the details below is a couple, but you'll be able to order them afterwards. But we won't be able to bring them to TFN, obviously, after that. Sorry, Chris. Shameless plug there. Anything else did you get this week?
No, just those sets. Just those sets. Like, what's that? 5 figures in 3 box sets. 6 if you count the Battle Master that came with the Insecticons. Like, I mean, it was a good thing that Turtle crossover got bumped till early next month, or I'd have had that come through as well.
Just the 6.
Yeah, just the 6, right? I really do like the I like Filch a lot, and I like the Insecticons. They've come out very well. Just very nice, just very nice retools. It's amazing what the addition of a couple of creepy crawly legs does to actually make these look like insects as compared to the original Insecticons. They're classic characters, and I'm fond of the characters, but as toys, as character designs, they've very much been what if a robot laid on its face. Has sort of always been their transformations. And these guys just, with the retooled parts to give them little bug legs. It goes a long way to making them work.
They were premium, weren't they,
As-
back in the day?
as
They were
more
classes.
believable
Weren't the original G1 toys premium level Insecticons? Is that right?
The deluxe Insecticons.
Deluxe. I think they were the deluxe. Jamie did a very good impression of an Insecticon the other week, didn't you, Jamie? At my birthday party. Everyone knows the photograph.
I was going to ask you something that's completely gone. Oh, were the deluxe Insecticons ever actually available in the UK? Like from any high street?
I don't know off the top of my head. I want to say no, but I'm not 100% sure.
yeah,
I think they were like, I feel like they were in Europe, but I'm not sure if they were like in the UK.
I hear another heel going. Another.
Black Mark McFeely.
Oh, yeah. Right.
They say never meet your heroes. Jamie, what did you get?
Strike one.
If you could just share the screen,
Yes, for me.
I just wanted to show this image quickly because it's a kind of a homage to your Transformers, Transformers, the history of Transformers Prime, the basics, which I know you were plugging and you did that, and that's quite good. And I sort of watched that, and I did a kind of a joke when I sort of posted this sort of image, talking about, oh, he looks really awesome. I sure hope he doesn't die. And then you think, well, it's the Rockets playing. I'm Dwayne Johnson. He never dies in any of his movies. He's going to be here for the whole season, baby. Yeah. But yeah, so I just wanted to quickly show that image.
I must, I was looking at a picture of that Cliff Jumper the other day, and I haven't ordered that box set, but I feel like I'm this close to ordering it.
Yeah, it's great. It's absolutely
I
brilliant.
like how Cliff Jumper's kneecaps are like little skulls.
I mean, as I said before, the only thing I had against Cliff Jumper was the shoulders are like held in place.
Yeah, the shoulders aren't tremendous, are they? I have the chase version of the mold. Yeah.
But apart from that, it looks brilliant. This is your windsweeper. Now, the thing is, I was boring people to death, I think, on yesterday when I was going around the sort of like Transformers fandom. And I was that photo, I mean, I spent time on it, but I didn't really like it. I messed up the lighting. That was used too much lighting. And I was really working on the detail of everything else in the figure. But, I messed up the kind of color in the face with the lighting I was using and lost because the light was going really face on, so that it wasn't going around the contours of the face, so you're losing a lot of that sort of detail.
Too much shine.
Yeah, and there's a sort of close up with the same sort of lighting as well, which kind of worked a bit better.
That's good. That's good.
But
your photos look great, Jamie. I mean,
but
I could be really critical about both.
But I went
great.
back that night. The trouble is, I've done a lot of other photos with the bad lighting. So I'm going to be posting these because I've spent so much work they're going to be out there. But I went back and spent about a good 3 hours, working on the lighting and stuff for some other photos, which I didn't get the time to because obviously some family stuff came up. But I really tried to get a much truer color of what you were seeing and a much better detail of the face and the features there. So hopefully you can see that sort of difference compared to there to this.
Also, you linked it to the background, so you know where the sun's meant to be. It's to the right, and the light's coming from the right. I think all the photos are great, Jamie, but that does look really good. I think.
And you can see the detail in the face so much better as well.
Yeah,
so that's what I was really working on. And there. And just adding more stuff to the picture to give it a bit more substance as well. But yeah. So I really do love that box set, especially Windsweeper. I'm not so keen in Breakdown. It does look lovely, but it's just because I've already got a Breakdown from another box set, which from the Transformers Prime special box set we come with one of the Viacons. But what I did pick up, which came today, well, actually yesterday, but I was busy doing something, as I might have mentioned earlier. This, he's escaped.
Nope. Bad news for you, Jay.
He's Ewald. G.I. Joe Ewald. He's not there. And I've also got a Shockwave. He's also escaped. He's got out there. I love the box art. I love the little touches. I love the fact that it just reminds me of the UK comics as well. But the figures. Sexy.
I do love the purple on that Shockwave.
Yeah,
slightly.
You know,
It's the cell shade. It's the cell shade for me. Like, because there's a guy I follow on Instagram that does all just cell shading Transformers.
I'm not big into the black ink things they've done for this comic line, the black ink and the dot effects. I'm not big into it, but the purple on that, I realized as I was looking at it, like when I close my eyes and imagine Shockwave, that's the color I imagine Shockwave is, like just like the Marvel purple specifically. They've done a nice job with that.
Well, I was giving Mainline some general knowledge because Mainline is going, but why is he blue? And I said, to you that looks blue, but to the comic reader, that's black. You know,
I mean, that's a whole debate, isn't it? You know, because like, yes, he is blue on the page, but he's not meant to be blue. He's meant to be black, and in the reality of the comic, he is black. You know, it's the same sort of thing. It's like with Onyx Prime, like Josh Burcham was doing that retro Marvel coloring, blue for black stuff on the Optimus Prime comic for IDW when Onyx Prime appeared in it. So Onyx was blue in that, but that means he's black. So like when they do stuff with Onyx later, what are they going to do?
It's interesting because I said there's a lot of people we just knew it was black and we knew the codes for it. And there was some characters where they made it very obvious. Like if you had the Black Panther, you knew the blue you were seeing was meant to be black. But
Venom
when it came to
blue for a huge portion of his history.
But when it came to Spider-Man, Spider-Man was meant to be red and black, but everyone started to see the blue as actual blue. And then he just decided to go with red
like
and
back
blue.
in the 60s, like by the time Lametta was going it. That
I
was
was born back then,
blue,
you know. This
genuinely.
is based.
I mean, fashion always follows through, right? Because, like, you know, back in the comic book days, blue was the new black. There was that TV show, Orange is the New Black, and one year, black was the new black. So, bang on trend. That's what I'm saying.
It is.
Why? Unlike
Such
your
a
jokes.
calious person, Alexis. Such a calious person. Look, there is.
Awesome. That's so cool.
And you can take that head and you can put it on the Optimus Prime, which is now redundant. Yay! But,
Redundant Prime.
This is brilliant, and I'm kind of hoping the Optimus Prime head is kind of equivalent to this for the new one as well, because it would be quite cool if you could swap it. Probably not.
I think it'd be nice to do
a second Shockwave was a waste of money, Jamie. But
it'd be nice to do like the sets behind that. Like again, like you talk about the Galvatron, like the Studio Series Galvatron. The only thing I can think of which would work well is like the cockpit, just that cockpit for Cyclonus.
This
so
is beautiful.
Not the whole bot, the cockpit. And like if they did the sets behind these Transformers, the comic books, it'd be that.
This is why you have children, so you can sell their kidneys, so you can buy this. This is
How much is it? Or was it? Sorry.
£20.
Jamie,
Yes.
I don't.
I know Mainline might not believe
give
me.
you £20. Can you get me one?
Right. Okay. Let's keep this on track. So,
let's
who's
go.
next?
Yeah.
Is that everything, Jamie?
Yeah, that's me. Totally finished.
Nice pickups, mate. Peter, what did you get?
So I got Legacy Lockdown, which is an all right bot. I'm not in love with it. It's okay. I think it's the good side of Solid. So it's all right. I don't think I'll have
he
it
made
that
a
long.
nicer Junkion than he made a Lockdown.
Don't give me
He
started.
does love Junkions.
Feeling triggered.
I think you're the good side of Solid, to be fair, mate. Just FYI.
It's just the way I'm sat.
So am I actually, like. So am I now, mate.
So I got Grimlock and Shockwave.
Your robot room looks so much better than when I first met you. Just FYI. You look good. Like I'm not slagging off your old room.
No,
It just looks really on point at the moment. Better than mine, much better than mine.
And thank you for those nice words, Paul. I feel like this show has enabled me though, because I also own a lot more Transformers since watching Transformers the show than I did, which is probably why it probably looks better. However, my electricity bill has gone up as well because I need to keep the lights on all the time now because I filled the shelves.
Mine's been me ever since I started watching Animal Hospital. I've got loads of pets now. Loads. And drawings.
Tomorrow Live.
Obviously, with it being Transformers the show, it would be remiss not to talk about Spider-Man. Got the box set of Morbius and Doctor Strange. Can we just take a second to marvel at the box art? It genuinely is gorgeous. It's like straight out of the animation. I think that's one of the. It is one. It's probably the main reason I started collecting the line was the the card work and the box art.
Suck through his hands.
Yes.
Oh. That's not very exciting.
Well, maybe it is.
Uses his ear. Very cool figures.
Doesn't look anything like Benedict Cumberbatch, so I don't know what they're
No.
doing.
The really messed up likeness on that.
I did feed that back to
Good.
Jared
Thank
Leto,
you.
to be fair.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Terrible. Very disappointing.
The best pickup of the week. We bumped into Mellow Shade yesterday at the event that shall not be named. And he very kindly gave me this as a present. And it is a Hot Wheels of the Thunder Tank. And genuinely,
You give me a present as well.
is.
I forgot to show it. Damn.
Yeah, well, I didn't forget because I like him more than you like him. Still, let's not make it about that,
Not a
Jamie.
competition.
I didn't forget what you gave me, Lee. Nice to see you in the chat, by the way. Yeah, it's a little bit different scale to the Super 7 Thunder Tank I've got. But we'll find a place on my shelf. So thank you very much, Lee. And that was it. That's all I got this week.
Good pickups.
And Lee is an awesome person, a really funny guy, and such a generous bloke.
He is lovely.
Looking
And
forward
he
to my
fucking got
bigger
tickets
present
as
next
well.
year.
He got tickets as well. What?
Yeah.
I feel there's
And
more
I'm
people
just
got
saying,
tickets than didn't get tickets.
I'm looking forward to my bigger, better present in TF Nation, Lee. I'm looking forward to that now.
Yeah, it's called the bar bill, mate. We're all looking forward to it as well. Ball rounds. So I got
talking about half pints.
Hey, twat. So, those who haven't worked out, this is not my normal attire. I'm getting my house renovated. So behind me is a kitchen unit, and behind me is half my house. And I have like my transformer that I just want to show everyone. I'm living in this. That's it. Like that's my bed. There's my cats. This is my So this is why I am. So this is me for 4 months basically. The kids are at mum's house, and I'm still getting deliveries. Can't really open it. If I open the package and put it back on the shelf, so it'd be very quick for me this week. So I got two things. I got New Age Slag, the original Toon Colors. Toon Colors. And I got the Magic Square Grimlock as well. Again, both Legends figures. So, but I am quite jealous of the comic versions of the Grimlock and the Shockwave, gents. By the way, so I'm tempted by those because I do own the Grimlock, and the third-party kit you buy from, which hides the wrists, like the gap, actually is that color grey. So it's like, ooh. The only challenge is you use my little washer, because the screw doesn't always fit. And if you go down B&Q, you can't buy just one washer. I attempted to. You have to buy like a whole packet. And it's like, well, that's £5. I want one washer. But no, you can't do it. I go, so can I just have this one washer? No, you can't, sir. I'll give this washer back to you. Yes, you do, sir.
How much?
I'll make a donation to charity. Where's your charity box? Very sorry, sir. You have to give it back.
This is the discussion.
We're getting a long story here.
How much did you spend on the upgrade kit, just out of interest?
So I bought the teeth kit, and then it was the wrists. That was it. Teeth wrists, and then it was the foot things. It was £15. I'll send you the link if you want on TF Safari.
No. I'm just wondering why you're quibbling over £5 for washes. You.
I want one washer.
Fucking.
Thank you, Lee. Not Lee. Lee.
Oh no! It's
Look all this glory that I'm showering myself in. Look all this glory.
Kind of father. Mel Shade. It's great to pick one moniker. It's so people have got like triplicate monikers, quadruple monikers. It's so hard to keep track of people.
With him anymore.
Yeah.
And thanks for mine as well, Melashade, because you gave me one of those as well. this year. Right, me. So I'll make myself big. So a little something. This. Oh, that's Jamie. Jamie, describe what I'm doing.
Guess what he's doing.
Interpretive dance. Tell me what I got this week. Right, Paul, that's me. So got this in the post this week. Something about big Transformers fan. It's for the Nokia N-Gage, and it's Tiger Woods PGA Tour 2004. Happy to pick this up. It's going to go right next to my Studio Series Prime next upstairs. And yeah,
is that pre his dog days?
That is, yeah. This is N-Gage days, so this is like 2004. But yeah, happy to stick that in the collection. Right, very so cool. That is it. Foreplay this week is going to be our top 5 Chris McFeely episodes of Transformers, the basics. So let's do some foreplay. Top 6. Yep, you're going to make Chris choose. Yeah, well, that makes sense.
Chris choosing one of his own.
Or just Chris chooses 6 of his favourites.
Yeah, Lindy, sex people.
What do you mean?
They're sex swappers. Lynn, this is DEFCON 1. Look. Look. Don't make the same noise as them. Don't think you want to join in.
Keep thinking we need to replace that with something more not as offensive, but then I forget. Then we do the show, and another year goes past. Right, so this week's foreplay is obviously Chris. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We've all seen so many of your episodes. Who would like to kick us off?
I'll go first.
Go on, Jamie. You go first.
Jamie's got an answer.
Could you work out which episode I'm thinking about?
Cheetor?
It's not a quiz.
Oh, I'm leaning in to see who it was. The Technobots, then, I assume?
No. Close, getting close. I'll give you another hint, Chris. You don't need to make me big, Paul. It's okay. You don't need to make me big.
Is it Best Steps? Best Steps?
The Marvel Comics episode, then, I assume.
Oh, yes. The Marvel's comic episode.
That was actually what I wanted to guess first, but I hedged my bet.
The Underbase. And I mean, obviously, I've watched the Transformer Prime thing because when I retweet your stuff and the Magmatron one as well, which Alexis recommended, and he's always recommending your stuff. And because I retweet, because I've learned the hard way in social media, you need to watch what you've retweeted or what you're seeing. So I watched your video just to be, because at the time I didn't really know who you were, and I wanted to make sure you weren't offensive or anything like that.
Sure. Oh, absolutely.
You know,
many people would tell you not to follow me.
And you've got a really cool voice. You've got 2 cool voices, which I think is really unfair because you've got this cool YouTube voice. And then you've got this cool Irish
voice. And I'm a talking voice.
Yeah, that's just like, I think that's selfish in some way. I don't know. When Gonda was handing out voices, you should have just give you one. But anyway, that's my complaint. But the Underbase, and I really
love the Underbase episode specifically.
Yeah, because I'm a big fan of the Marvel UK stories. And Marvel itself, and you started off showing the American comics, then talked about the Marvel UK as well. But there was so much information in there I just had no clue about. You know, talking about the origins on the base, you went into there, you talked about Regeneration, was it Regeneration 1, which went into the story later. I mean, obviously, I've got a big advantage over you because I watched it just recently today, you know, so, again, you know, so it's like, I'm not remembering this from like 4 years ago, a few years ago. But I really loved it, and I think what's at me, Lynn was going, oh, he's got such a wonderful talking voice, and I went, that's it, we're falling out, you know.
Well, that's very nice of you to say. Thank you very much.
You know, but yeah, so she was quite enjoying listening to some of the clips I was watching today as well, and but the Underbase was my favorite one. You know, you talked about how this little dude here, the gun, the guy was the one who was the chief scientist behind the Underbase, and I went,
I was looking at Scrounge. I wasn't looking at who was in his hand there when I was guessing originally.
I know, and it was a fun episode for me, and it was a fun episode because you were just learning something, and it was in a non-intrusive manner, you know, and it was just nice. It was just nice. It was like steps building up. It was like a snowball thing. And it's not, and I don't think when you look at YouTube videos when it's telling you stuff or it's educating you on something or just showing you love it, but they don't. I think it's a very difficult thing to do, and that was so well done, and I really enjoyed it. And then I started to watch the other stuff on as well, you know, which Mainline seemed to like because she could just listen to your voice, even though she had no clue what you're saying, you know. But yes, so the Underbase was my favorite episode, and it was brilliant. And the other episodes are good. I mean, the Transformer Prime one was really good, and you explained that, and I just didn't realize there was so much behind that, and the relaunch and the talent behind it, and the actors in there, and I just thought, wow, you know, but yeah, this was my favorite episode.
Honorary mention is, have we just encroached? Do you need to take a penalty point?
Yeah, no, I mentioned.
Yeah,
I mean, he often takes many penalty points because he does have Mainline often has Jamie play the basics, and he mouths Sweet McFeely's to her before they have the date. Before they go on date.
You know, it's
here and then end up
finally.
It isn't the first time that I've heard that someone's other half liked listening to my voice but didn't care about the Transformer content.
Well, that's why I hate you, Chris. I'm jealous.
And on that bombshell,
you infiltrate our ears and our wives with your lovely voice. Right, I don't mind going next. So the one I went for was, well, it's got to be the only one, which is your Transformers the Basics on the Nokia N-Gage, which was an excellent. I'm joking. My favorite one was the one with the mini-bots Transformers, but it kind of like summed up a lot of the stuff that you do that I absolutely love, where you start off describing it and you talk about when it was the Diaclone days and beforehand, but your material is full of like catalogs and product shots and what it looked like at the time, so you get all that nostalgia for the line, and then you start explaining, oh, I didn't know that, but I remember that picture, and you tell a story where I've got links to that story because I remember being in the 80s, but I only got to see like a quarter of the story, and you paint this picture of the other 3/4 of it, which is absolutely amazing.
That was an unusual little one, that Minibots one. Like, I'd done an episode about Bumper couple of years ago, and but I could even see in the comments people still continuing to make the mix up between Hubcap and Yellow Cliff Jumper and Bumper, and not understanding that those are 4 different things. And I'd thought since then, I need to do some kind of episode. I didn't necessarily think it would be a basics episode, but some kind of episode explaining, no, they're 4 different things and this is what they are. And then that was a sponsored episode, and it was Cian Carlisle, if I remember right, who sponsored that episode because he'd asked.
Yeah, it was.
He had a bunch of suggestions for his sponsored episode, but one of the ones was a history of Bumblebee recolors, because Cian's a huge animated guy, and obviously animated was quite famous for the sheer number of Bumblebee recolors that it had. And I know that's where he was coming from, like the history of that concept. And when he said that to me, I thought, oh, I see how I can fold those 2 things together and make that. It's an unusual episode, as I say, but I think it came together quite nicely.
I think the bandwidth is having trouble holding all the sexiness that Chris is showing right now.
I can hear it won't. Do you know what? It's not stopping your voice, and to be honest, that's all we care about, Chris.
Only that's what people want anyway.
Lovely voice.
That's all we need.
Brilliant, cool. Right, who'd like to go next? Pete, you're up.
Quite simply, for me, the Grimlock one, and I think it's my favourite character, obviously. But I think you think because he's your favourite character, you know everything there is to know about him. And I think, like Paul was saying, you seem to tell a story from creation to the various iterations to where it is now. And I think even probably the most clued up individual, you know, because we all do. We all think we know the fandom, and we all think we know various series and characters and stuff. And you have this way of going, but I bet you didn't know this. And it's always quite. I look forward to them. I look forward to all your episodes, but I think for me the Grimlock one, it was nice to have a more well-rounded view to a favourite character.
I would definitely do Grimlock a little differently if I did it now, because it's just one of my older ones that has a slightly different format. Not a hugely different format, but I can imagine ways I would do it differently. But it's not massively outdated or anything. You know, there's really just the rest of Cyberverse, and it had Power of the had Power of the Primes that happened
Yeah.
that time. And not
Yeah. I mean,
it's not desperately in need of an update, but
no, definitely not. And it's good that you've identified that you need to change it a couple times, Chris, because I'd have never said that. But you're right, mate. It does need improved, in various iterations. But no, for me, it will always be Grimlock. It will always be Grimlock.
It's ones though where a story can be told tend to be ones that I enjoy doing the most, where you can really burrow down into like a narrative that shapes the character's history. Like the most recent example that springs to mind is I did one about Cosmos last year. Yeah, last year. And as I was doing it, I realized this is the story of a poor little bugger whose every modern appearance got cancelled out from underneath him until finally he got back on television. So there's a little story that I'm telling the story of.
I remember that.
Cosmos, So it's like when you're talking about someone like Grimlock or like Shockwave, who has those very different classic portrayals and how those things have come together and the way modern media has explored them differently. Yeah, I think those give rise to good, well shaped episodes when the media allows me to make one like that, if you know what I mean.
Right, Pete, you are done. Andy,
I can go next. I thought Alexis had his hand up before. And if he
wants sorry.
There you go. Fine. It's all right. You call Andy. Go.
Cool. Well, this is a really difficult one because, as Jamie I think mentioned, I am a big fan of pretty much all of them. I watch every single one. So
and you'd be glad I didn't mention the Seacons because that's the one you kept pestering me about all the time.
Well, the thing is, here's the thing, right? I can tell you now, it's very difficult to pick one. Now, the obvious one is Double Dealer, because in case you don't know, Chris, my favorite Transformer toy from my childhood was Double Dealer, so I have this irrational love for him and all things Double Dealer. So it could have been that, but I just really enjoyed the Seacons episode because it was so fun. Because I suppose you don't think there's a lot of history to them anyway, and yet you manage to really kind of delve into it and give a lot of the information that, like, say, we probably didn't know, especially if you didn't know kind of about the variants that there were of the Seacons. And like the song, I mean, who can forget the song? I mean, that became a thing all of its own with, like, I'm sure it was last TFN, there was people walking around just singing that song.
I didn't catch that.
But, yeah, I think they spotted you, and they would, but themselves, you couldn't actually hear them because they didn't want to actually, be embarrassed by it. But the thing about it is, it is absolutely my favorite episode. But I'm going to take this opportunity because you are here, and I may not get the chance to also give some love to some of my other favorites. I love Transformers Prime. I've said on this show many, many times before that it is my favorite of the Transformers cartoons. I still feel personally it's the best one we've had. And so your episode on this last week was just like manna from heaven. It was just wonderful. And I loved, even in that, I thought I knew quite a lot about Transformers Prime, and there was still information in that I didn't really know. And I'm really glad you addressed the Thundertron issue as well, because the Thundertron discussion is one I've had with lots of people before, and there's lots of confusion over where the Thundertron character was going to sit, and
I've been guilty of propagating misinformation in previous videos, like about when that was supposed to happen.
But it's good that you helped clear that up, because
and it'll be addressed in more detail soon as well.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, I think you guys are drowning out Pete's objection to you talking about Transformers Prime.
That's all right, because we can tell him to be quiet, Pete.
I think it's amazing how Andy's doing his. Andy, you should do your honorary mentions at the end, though. Just say it.
Yeah, well, guess what? I'm doing them now, because I'm also going to chuck in the Vector Prime one, which I absolutely loved. Me and you, I don't know if you remember this last year at TFN, Chris, but we stood and we were having a little bit of a chat
yes,
about
I remember a little
I
chat,
love him, and I like to bore people about him. But also, I will just, there's the other picture, because I took the time to download it. Double Dealer, I just love him. There's not enough. How you managed to make an entire episode about Double Dealer, because he hasn't had enough exposure, really. And I do feel, and I am biased, but I do feel he should have more. He's like an untapped resource as a character. But you managed to turn it into a really entertaining episode about it. And yeah,
it's one of those ones where if a character if a master character was in any of the Japanese shows, I can definitely get a full length episode out of them, because you got to explain what they did in America, then you got to explain why everything is different in Japan, and then cover the Japanese stuff. What did I do recently? I did. I don't remember what the character was, but
you covered the US version of what he did in his lore, and then you covered what he was like in Japan cartoon.
Minerva, that was it. Sorry, yeah, it was. I was surprised how long the Minerva episode came out. Because there isn't even an American version of her, an original American version of her, so much to talk about. But that happens sometimes, where an episode will run sometimes frustratingly long for me, and I'm like, I feel like this character really shouldn't be clocking in at over 10 minutes, and it's usually because of something like that. But it's because I do feel like I have to. I mean, and I'm sure there's people in the viewing audience who maybe when they're watching it will think to themselves, God, I wish he'd hurried up and get. I know all this bit. I know about the
does it seem like that? Because some of your videos are between 8 and 15 minutes.
Bit of internet breakup.
Internet issues.
Dropped out for a second there.
Your videos are between 8 and 15 minutes, which I think is a really good runtime.
No, that's where I want them to sit. But sometimes, like whenever a character just pushes it to 11 minutes, I will go, for this character, this is really getting over the 10 minutes 30 mark. And but I feel like I always do. Every episode needs to try and be complete in and of itself, like all the necessary context to understand. I always try to put it in every episode, even though it does mean repetition. If you watch a bunch of them in a row, you will hear a lot of the same buzz phrases, over and over again. But it's contextualizing.
Right, I think we've got a bit of a little. Is it a TFN exclusive type announcement coming up? We've got Alexis.
Is Alexis not having his go?
I'm taking the link. When you link stuff in.
Oh, there's a link.
I'm a pro.
I wasn't aware of this link.
Coming up, but before we do that, we've got Alexis and Chris to take us through their favorite. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You don't. Andy Peters. Alexis, what was yours?
Don't like him.
Does that make me Toby Anstis then, if you're Andy Peters?
No.
Gordon the Gopher.
Your Gordon.
Okay, so my base. So again, I watch all of them, right? So I do look forward to them when they come out, and it was very hard to pick. I think the one that I think had a big impact to me personally was the line continuity, because I wasn't aware of the line. I was aware of it, like it was a thing, but I wasn't aware of how it worked. So my Transformers media and lineage watching it has been very sporadic, dipping in and out of different areas, genres and stuff. So for me to actually line all that up and actually go, oh, this is how it works, and put all the stories together, and then all of that goes, oh, that does make sense. Like it that to me meant a lot, right? And I think you touched on it quite a lot in the recent Prime as well. I wasn't aware that Prime was almost like the launch of that continuity. Like it was the brand new. They're trying to reset the needle a little bit. But I found that very just it was useful. Like I love all the way you pull in all the different stories and all the little mini comics and the botcon comics and the Japanese exclusives and stuff like and there's been a Starscream doing all of his different versions of himself, and Andy mentioned the Seacons when they turned went in. Yeah, so many of those stories ooh, and it's you get brand new information, and it's you're sat there, and I do love watching it on a Saturday. It's my little thing that I go to, and I sit there watching.
Do you find his voice attractive as well, like me, Linda?
I'm not going to go into that because I haven't got. In my new build right now, I don't think there's any lube nearby.
He hasn't got the family around. If he wants to take Amy, that's his business. It's none of your business.
I was just going to say, you can say, yes, she didn't need to go into details.
Chris, I've loved so many of your videos. It's made my week a lot of the times. And a big shout out to you when you do Obscure Week, like when you do Obscure Month, the Obscure characters. I find that really quite interesting. It's good. So we'll talk about it more in the discussion, but yeah, so for me the line continuity was the one that really helped me just reset my Transformer knowledge and philosophy, like, and it's like, okay, and now I sort of like I try and lean towards that if I'm trying to reference something, because the boys get quite frustrated if you get it wrong.
I mean, when I first came into the fandom, Andy and Alexis were constantly pushing your videos all the time, and Paul was also a fan, but he was also a big fan of you, and that was the thing I think quite interesting was coming in, because I didn't really follow anyone, or because I just was new to it. And you know, so it was good to have like Paul and Andy and Alexis pushing the people they liked. And as I said before, they really liked your videos. Anytime I bought a toy, he said, "Oh, here's a basics video on it," you know, even if it's a tentative link, you know, or Paul's going, "And if you need to transform it, here's the one for Hugh and what he's done," you know, and it's just weird because it's something I wouldn't normally have picked myself, but you know, it got me more involved into looking at those videos. So it's, yeah, those guys, they are big fans.
Well,
you're all very, very nice guys to just sit me here and say nice things to me.
Oh, it's because it's true. You know what? I'm a cunt. I lie. I would tell the truth if I thought it was pish and I didn't like it. But no, but they're genuinely fans and they really push it, and it's true because it's well.
The thing is, your videos, Chris, are like, it's like the TF Wiki. I when I first got back into Transformers, the TF Wiki was a godsend, and it was entertaining as well as informative, and that's how your videos feel. That same energy, you know. There's jokes in there, there's lighter moments, but the information,
it's not just information though, is it? It's actually entertainment. It's actually, you put it in a way which actually tells a story. Actually, is something you want to follow. Like if you did, like if Audible call you up, let me know so I can just like, I'll be one of the you know. But if they want a trial person, you know, because I don't read books, but I listen to them, so I'm happy to do that.
Pretty sure you'll be on trial by then, but I'm not sure it's the same.
Right. Are you, like, from acting and drama, have you got like
Chris,
the discussion.
Chris,
oh yeah, we've had discussion. So Chris, before you do your favorite episode, is it all right to do your quick announcement? I can put your video on stage.
Sure, yeah. Well, whenever you want, yeah.
Is it best to do the video first and then you can talk about it afterwards?
No, probably best to explain what it is first, I think.
All right, go for it. Explain away.
Well, if you follow TF Nation on social media, on Facebook or Blue Sky or Twitter or wherever, you'll have seen them announce today one of the features, attractions. I don't know what the word is. I wanted to say panels, but it's not a panel, obviously, for ClubCon on the Saturday night. And this is something we're calling much more than meets the eye. It is the original 3-part G1 pilot miniseries, the original premiere of the G1 cartoon, re-edited to restore all the deleted material that was cut from the episode using original studio recordings of the original voice cast acquired by the Mapes brothers. Myself, Chris Carter, and Andrew Turnbull have been hard at work the last couple of months creating new animation, piecing animation from other episodes and elsewhere in these episodes together to fill in the blanks, re-editing the music, adding in the sound effects and everything to create this feature length. I don't want to call it, I feel like calling it a director's cut is a clear explanation of what it is, but obviously it's not the director's cut because we're not the directors of the show, but it's the extended cut of More Than Meets the Eye. It's about 15 to 20% longer. It's about 10 minutes longer.
Ooh, wow.
There's a lot of stuff in here. Yeah,
that much. Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot in here, and you know, some of it's only little 1 or 2 lines here and there sprinkled, and then there are other bigger, longer scenes that were cut out entirely. We decided to, and this is obviously for the 40th anniversary. We decided to do this before there had been the announcement of the cinema screening of the first 3 episodes of the G1 cartoon. But I have to tell you, when I went to see that in the cinema, I was already so deep in working on this. All I was seeing on the screen, because I think it was probably the first time I'd sat down to watch that through straight, uninterrupted, for my own pleasure in quite a while, you know. And it was all I was seeing was the bits that were missing, because I was like, yeah, that was supposed to go there, and you can see where that was supposed to go. And that's why he's saying that line that way, because there's a cut dialogue from earlier on that recontextualizes the emphasis he's putting on that part of the sentence, and all the little things like this. So there's a lot. But I brought along a little clip from the 3rd act of part 1 here, which you'll recognize. This begins just after the Autobots have put together their battle unit to head out, and Laserbeak returns to the Decepticon camp to tell them that he's found the oil rig. In the finished episode, this cuts right from Megatron saying "excellent" to the scene of Spike and Sparkplug working on the oil rig. But if you want to play the clip, you'll see this is how it was originally meant to go.
Here we go.
Oh, wow.
Megatron, Laserbeak has returned. He has found a source of energy.
Excellent. Excellent. Assemble a strike force. Convoy home! What's up, Prime? I've got something on the Vistascope. What is it? The Decepticons. Autobots, transform! To the air!
And that's just a little example of how it was supposed to, because the last time in the finished episode, we see the Autobots drive off, and then suddenly they're flying down to the oil rig, having somehow tracked the Decepticons there. So that's that little bit of missing connective tissue, and that's.
You know what? This is like my mortal enemy. It's context.
Yeah.
This is going to be like a. Is this ever?
I think your mortal enemy was big words, and I don't know.
Society. Is this is something that nobody will have ever really seen? Certainly not in this format, will they? So
No, not in this format. Now, the Mapeses have had the deleted audio on their YouTube channel for years. That and many other G1 episodes that they've been able to get the original studio tapes for are on their YouTube channel, Transformers at the Moon. And there have been some fan projects to take that audio and create parts of things, but this, or the original 3-part miniseries, has never been done in full like this before. And certainly it seems like even the release of those audios has slipped under a lot of folks' radar. No matter how familiar like you are with More Than Meets the Eye, and a lot of us know that miniseries by heart practically, it could be quite disarming to be watching it. And I mean, I think we've done a pretty good job matching up the background music so the big cuts aren't obvious whenever the new material drops in and drops out. You know, we've tried to avoid things like that. We've rescored certain scenes, rebuilt the audio where
wow,
just to make sure that it all lines up and it's not obvious. It's not
fully support this. Do Hasbro support this? That was a bad question. Kick him.
Sorry, I think I dropped out for a second there. What was it?
Tunnel.
Anyway,
Yeah, you had to go. Awful question, Alexis.
I'm in a tunnel right now. Sorry, I can't hear you.
Yeah, I think it's going to be something special that I hope folk will enjoy, whether, you know, they've never seen More Than Meets the Eye before, although I don't know how any people attending a Transformers convention will have never seen More Than Meets the Eye before, but you never know. And even if you're very familiar with it, there'll be stuff in here that I think will surprise you. There are some very, you know, as I say, some bits of it are short scenes like that, whatever that was, like 30 seconds. There are other scenes that are much longer, and there are other scenes that are much shorter, all sprinkled throughout all 3 parts. I'm looking forward to seeing I'm looking forward to people seeing it, because I think it's come together very nicely. A lot of hard work's gone into it, and just something special for the 40th anniversary.
Very cool.
Got questions on that, but we'll save it for the Chris McFeely discussion at the end. To finish this section off, what was your favourite episode that you've done? What did you enjoy the most?
It is hard to pick, but certainly some of the suggestions, some of the ones that have been put forth in that, like the Prime one, sticks in my memory because it's the one I've just done. But I was very happy, and I do think that came out as one of my best. The Alliant continuity, there's a lot of overlap between that and the Prime one, but they are about 2 very different things and take 2 very different approaches to talking about it. And that one, yeah, that's another one of my favorites. Sparks, Protoforms, the war, before the war, the big concept ones, they're all about to get blown out of the water by Transformers 1. I mean, that's kind of the interesting thing about Transformers 1. Obviously, we can't talk about it or anything. I mean, I haven't seen it. You guys can't talk about it. But you know, it could this now be the new aligned continuity, as it were? You know, it is an expression. You know, I don't have to have seen it. I can see based on the trailers that it is just the latest recipe created out of the ingredients that are the lore of the aligned continuity: Prime and Megatron's friendship, Gotison's controlling Cybertron, the falling out, the inequality. But you know, whenever Transformers 1 was announced, people thought, "Oh, this again." Well, nerds thought, "Oh, this again."
The best way I could sum up Transformers 1, it's very much like Transformers.
Careful now.
Animation, where you'll have a checklist and you'll look at your partner and make sure he has the correct emotive responses to certain scenes.
I think they missed a trick.
Are
you that guy?
That's the caliber.
They did miss a trick, didn't they? If they should have called it Transformers Till All Are One.
I feel like that is why that's how they're justifying the title, right? Because there was the new trailer or whatever. Because like Transformers 1, it's not a good title, right? You know, but it seems like that's the justification beyond it being like the prequel, and they're calling it 1 because it's the prequel, as it were.
Which was your favorite episode of your own Basics? You didn't quite said the one.
Yeah, I know it's hard to pick one, honestly, but a lot. I don't think I have a single one, but those ones like the Sparks, Protoforms, the War Before the War, the Aligned Continuity, the Prime one, those definitely stand out as some of my favorites.
I liked your GoBot ones, like Rock Lords, because I liked.
Oh, that was yes. The Rock Lords one actually is a recent one. That one was sort of just for me because it did dog shit numbers. that was just for me.
We watched it.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's good that you confirmed it's the Seacons episode. Paul, what's next?
Right, let's move to discussion time. So if you've got any questions for Chris, then stick them in the chat. We've got a couple already. We've got a load as well, but we'll go through it over the next 20 minutes or so, and then we'll wrap up the show. So
I'll try and keep it short.
You've got all the time in the world, so.
We now return to the Transformers.
Right, so I think, Chris, is it 7 years you've been on YouTube now? 8 years?
7 years with the basics. You know, the channels existed longer. Back in the day when everyone was doing it, I did try my hand at a bit of toy reviewing, but those are all scourged from the earth now.
Have you hidden? We did the same. We never got reached your levels, but we still at one point were like,
probably
those
not things
we said in episode 2. We probably should delete that just for our jobs. So
yeah,
they were just bad, is all. You know, that was that 2009, 10, 11 kind of time, I guess.
Well, so what age are you now? 28, 29.
All right.
Ish.
Right, so we'll go for questions. We'll go for some from the chat and some for us. My one is, what started you? What got you back into YouTube? So you started doing your own figure reviews. Is that initial wave where there was a load of people? Well, not a load, but the TFN and the Auto Assembly attendees. There's quite a few of them who were doing Transformer reviews and things. Is that what got you into it?
Originally with the toy reviews and stuff back in 09, 10, it was 100% Auto Assembly 2009 of the transformative year when the convention went from being one day to the full weekend, and the Moonbase 2 podcast had their big meetup that year. So I met people, like I was at 2008, but I sort of stuck to the wall and didn't speak to anybody. And 2009 was just a wholly different like sort of social experience, and everybody was doing toy stuff, so I tried my hand at it. You know, as I say, it wasn't very good, but that's why I made the YouTube channel. That sounds about right. But then there was nothing on it for years except that one comic dub I did from More Than Meets the Eye of Megatron and Ravage that is still up there. And then the basics started in 2017. Yeah.
I feel like we've got the lost Chris tapes, like the original ones that no one ever found.
It's like our tape. It's like ours, mate. No one ever sees the first 15 shows of ours.
Nope.
Again, we've covered this, Alexis, for very different reasons.
Right, questions from the chat, guys. Any questions from you guys?
Yes, I just have I've
Go
a
on, Jamie.
question, and I asked it before. Was I guess you come from a drama background or voice acting background?
Jesus, no, not in the slightest, mate. No, not at all.
So it's
No,
just natural talent
He's
you've
just got a great voice. That's even
I
worse.
guess I did do the commentaries on the UK DVDs of Headmasters, Master Force, Victory, and the movie back between 2005 and 2007. That was, the first any kind of, what do you call it, public speaking, I guess. And my broadcasting voice then was very different to even what it is now. Like if you go back and listen to those DVDs, or even to the earliest episode of The Basics, it's very it's much more quiet. It's very hello and welcome to very not whispery, but it's a whole different tone. I would do those DVDs very differently if I had them to do over again now. But no, drama background. Didn't do it at school or anything. I've never done any voice acting outside of goofing around with stuff on the internet. No, it's yeah. Very kind of you to assume that, but no.
I do find it interesting how your original Basics voice is very much similar to golf commentary. Like, so, my question I was going to ask before, while I'm still talking, that's what I normally am, is how long does it take you to do a base when you're preparing for Basics episode? How does one happen from start to finish? Like, obviously there are Patreon sponsors and people that sponsor it, but how does it go from ideation to reality? Like, what's the process it takes? How long does it take? And how long do you spend doing it? That's a lot of information. Sorry.
No, ideally, I will have decided on it quite some time in advance, at least like a couple of videos in advance. So I'll be working on other videos, but I'll know it's coming. So there'll be some cog or other turning in the back of my head, thinking about what do I need to say? Are there any big points I need to hit? But then when it comes to actually starting it, currently for this year, I've been on like a fortnightly schedule. I've kind of wanted to get out of that and have the big, and that started last year. Because last year I knew Rise of the Beasts was dropping in June, so I wanted the whole first half of the year to be on a bi-weekly schedule, so I would have enough buffer to make sure I could drop weekly episodes in June for Rise of the Beasts, and then the back half of the year carried on the fortnightly schedule because I wanted to have enough buffer to make sure Obscure Characters Month would be able to be done weekly. And then this year I hoped that I would get out of the fortnightly schedule and get back to what I was doing before, where it usually came down to I would get what does I usually say? 3 episodes every 4 weeks, or 2 episodes every 3 weeks, or something like that. It was never weekly as a rule, but it wasn't fortnightly as a rule either. But I've just been stuck on I can't seem to get a buffer going this year. I don't know why. So things have been a little tighter as far as having things planned out far in advance. But at this point, I do have most of the rest of the year sort of penciled in for what's on the schedule for a fortnightly schedule up to the end of the year. But with the UK release date of Transformers 1 being different to America, and it not being clear if I'm going to be able to see it before it comes out here, it's kind of making it hard to lock things in. Anyway, as far as actually creating it goes, I'll sit down with a blank Word document, and I'll write in like a quick list of what I think, just off the dome, what needs to go in this. So it'll be G1 Toy, Profile, Cartoon, Marvel. What was he in? Was he in G2? Yeah, he was in G2, but he wasn't in Beast Wars or none of that. And then he came back in Armada, and
you must have like you must have like a format now. It's like, is he in or out these in or out these areas, right? Tick 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 tick.
Oh, it's not even that. It's not even that. Structured. I'm really just scribbling down whatever and just battering the keyboard quickly. I'm not creating anything too orderly. It's really just writing a word or a sentence in case there's a data point I know I really want to hit somewhere. I need to remind myself you have to say this, and so I'll maybe note that down. And then after I've done that, that's when I'll pop over to the wiki and do a quick skim of like the disambiguation page and see if there were any versions that escaped my memory or any major fictional appearances that escaped my memory. And then, particularly if there were, I'll then go and dig out the original cartoon episode or comic or whatever it is that escaped my memory was, and refresh myself on it based on that. And then I'll just basically get to writing. There's no real process as far as the writing goes. I just sort of peck away at it. Once that's done, record it, and then invariably when I'm halfway through actually editing the video to go with the words, realize that this isn't good enough and go back and rewrite it and then re-record it. And yeah, what was the one? I think it was Sparks. I think I got like 10 drafts on each one separately recorded because that was a real bear to get just right.
Cool.
Whereas normally it wouldn't be more than 2 or 3, but Sparks got up to, I think it got up to 10. Yeah.
What was it about Sparks that made it that progression that you wanted to go back and perfect it?
Most often when it comes to that, sometimes it's about the precise way of phrasing something for clarity's sake. But what I find most often that makes me re-record to that extent is the precise ordering of information. Like if I remember right, I've pushed a lot of it away now in my head at this point, but I think at Sparks at one point, like I took a whole chunk that was in like the back half of the episode and instead lifted it up to make it the first thing in the video instead. Just wanted to front load the information about what sparks are and what they're generally considered responsible for, and just put that up front and then talk about how we got there rather than start like from point zero, from nothing, and work the way up to explaining it. Because normally like when I do characters, I'll start from point zero and walk through the history linearly. But sometimes when it's a concept like Energon or space bridges or sparks or protoforms, it's important, I feel like, to front load the information of here's what this is. Now, if you want to know how we got here, then watch the rest of the video after this. You know?
Is that because you find like
Alexis? There's loads of people in the chat who've got questions.
Sorry,
and you're on to question number 3 now.
I have one more. One more. Okay, fine.
I didn't answer the final point of Alexis's question, which was time frame, which is that somewhere between 10 days to 2 weeks is usually how long it takes to do an episode, from not from conception but from blank sheet to finished is usually about
that's pretty good,
a week and a half to 2 weeks. Yeah,
much longer.
That's pretty.
It is good. Right, cool. So some questions from the chat. So Nolsey, TF Nolsey, John. Hello, John. He said, not sure if it's already been asked, how do you, Chris, get involved in the Metronome special features on the G1 box set? This was the DVDs, wasn't it, which were released 12 years ago? 15 years ago?
7, oh my god, it was 19 years ago.
40 years ago?
It was 2005.
You must have been 16.
What age was I? Was 2005 was 20. It was 23. Yeah, it was 23 when the first one of those came out. That happened. It was very silly. They had a fan forum at the time on the Metrodome website, where they would just take suggestions like for ideas for special features and that. And in a sea of people saying you should get Peter Cullen and Frank Welker to do audio commentaries on every episode, I was saying things like, maybe you could get some of the original commercials, or you could put some art cards in the box. And I think the what's the word? Not rationality, the reasonability, the plausibility of my suggestions, I think, resulted in I don't remember if it was one of the moderators or if one of the moderators simply was one of the guys who just worked at Metrodome. They sent me an email and we just talked about ideas for the DVDs, and I remember I was talking to them just as they were working on the original G1 cartoon season 3 set, and I didn't really do anything on that. I pointed out that Dark Awakening has 2 endings, and I said you should try and get both those endings on there. Of course, what they wanted.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's got the original ending where Rodimus says "So long, Prime," and then there's the redubbed ending with Victor Caroli saying "Tune in tomorrow for Return of Optimus Prime to see if Optimus Prime returns," or whatever it is he says exactly. And because the Rhino American DVD release had used the Victor Caroli narrated episode, and then our version used the original version with Rodimus's closing narration, and then they put the whole episode on as an Easter egg secret bonus feature again on the same set, and it was the version with the one different line at the end. They put the whole episode on for that as a bonus feature. And then
that
from there,
used to be director's cut. That used to be like director's cut. Like you see director's cut, it was 10 seconds to change. The whole movie
yeah,
was the
I mean, I
same.
said to them, you should maybe just make it a different audio track or a branching track at the very end, but they put the whole episode on again. From there, I just stayed in touch with them, and when they were working on the Japanese stuff, they floated the idea of doing a commentary, and they said, I think I talked about this at TFUK Con. They said, we've got some ideas for who could do a commentary. Jonathan Clements was one. Jonathan Clements is a UK scholar of manga and anime, and he's written books about the subject. Or Simon Furman. And I sent a message back to them, and I said, "No, I know Jonathan Clements is a respected writer about manga and anime, but I've read the Transformers entries in his books, and they're full of mistakes. So I know he doesn't know the subject matter." And Simon Furman, all credit and praise to Simon Furman as the architect of, so much of what we love about Transformers, but he's never seen these cartoons and doesn't know anything about them. So I don't know that necessarily either of those is a really good standard.
And I have the voice.
Well, what happened was the guy
yes, I did.
Have you heard me speak recently?
He responded to that email saying, "Well, do you want to do it?" Like that, I don't remember if that was it verbatim, but it was basically he said, "What about you? Or what about you doing it? Do you want to do it?" And
does his wife ever answer the call to you and she got pregnant or something like that?
and that was it. Yeah, that was how I got on doing those with Metrodome.
You must have been so excited as well in those early days to get that.
Terrified, but excited.
Terrified and excited. Right, more questions from the chat. So let's go to some really good questions. So Bumble Jumper 82's got two good questions. First one is, do Hasbro gain contact a lot for your expertise? And the second one is, if you had to choose between the toys and the lore, what one would you choose?
Oh, well, the first one is no, never. Honestly, I've done little official things here and there, but I've never been in touch with anybody from Hasbro. It's usually a licensee or something like that. I wrote Transformers Historia for IDW, but that was done entirely through IDW. I got very lucky to be invited to the premiere of Rise of the Beasts last year, but that was done through Paramount. So no, Hasbro have never come knocking and asked me to announce a toy on my YouTube or anything like that. Not to name any names, but guys who have got to do that in the last couple of months.
Could that be?
Yes. They haven't been sending out invites to bring me over to London for any premieres that may or may not have happened this week. No, guys, the email is right there. Get in touch with me. I would be only too happy and flattered.
They've got a reissue of Miss Congeniality at my local cinema. It's only £5 a ticket, and I'll cover that. If you can cover the flights, I'll cover the ticket. Let's go watch Miss Congeniality.
Paul, there's a question in the chat from a young Samantha. I don't know if you can see that right now.
I'll get to young Samantha, although I think it's probably you texting as your wife.
It's
a
not
bumper jumper.
If I had to choose between the toys and the lore, that's a very hard question.
That is good and a good question.
I don't know if you put a gun to my head, if I could. I mean, I know like people often ask when I do live streams or whatever, even just in conversation at conventions, do you collect the toys? And I guess that's because the nature of my content is quite lore focused, even though I feel like I do. It's the thing is like you can never talk about, except for guys who have only ever had the toys you can count on the fingers of one hand. You can never talk about every toy that a character's ever had, but you can talk about every major fictional appearance a character's ever had. So I get why somebody watching my content would maybe think I'm all about the lore and I don't collect the toys. And as I say, I'm up here. I always say this in my streams as well, but I'm up here in this attic room where the walls all slope in, so I can't have nice ceiling height shelves and things.
Well, I've seen plenty of your photos on Twitter with that nice carpet with your Transformer toys displayed.
That's the front room. That's just where I've got anything that I've got that day, and I take it in there. But I mean, you can't even see it from here. But hang on, which way do I need to roll in a non-mirrored? Like it is all over there. You just can't see it. That's
Oh,
you can
yeah.
probably
Hi,
see the
Transformers.
yellow head of the arc. That's what all that probably comes out in thumbnail size shot. But that whole wall, just past where this bit of blue stops, that whole wall is waist height shelves packed with figures. But I would love to be able to have like a nice background like you guys have that shows off the stuff.
So for normal people, that's like my height, isn't it?
No, it's
like this, that.
Jumping.
Right. Cool. Let's go to another question.
As far as picking between the two, it would be a real challenge. I really don't know if I could. Maybe if you put a gun to my head, maybe the lower, but I feel like the two things are so inextricably tied up. It is hard to separate.
Yeah. Okay, so Matt Davis has asked, Chris, do people try and stump you with obscure Transformer questions because you know so much? I think yes, they probably do.
I mean, no, actually, people don't like jump out from alcoves at TFN and fire random trivia questions at me. You know, maybe I've set myself up for this year. You know, not yet. I mean, you know, I've just today I've finished the quiz for this year's TF Nation, also at ClubCon, also on the Saturday night, and I was looking over the questions, and I was like, you know, I don't know if I'd get some of these, not all of them. You know, I'm not going to make a whole quiz of questions that I think I wouldn't get myself, but there are some of them where I'm like, you know, I've thought this question up, but if I was presented with it, would I be able to get it off the top of my head? And I you know, I don't know. You know, I also don't perform well under pressure, so.
None of us do, don't we? Right. Okay. Next is well, good question here. Curious to know what your interests are outside of Transformers, and that's Dave Nibbles. Now I know some of this because I remember you telling me in Birmingham, but go on, tell the rest of the world what your interests.
Well, I think I probably front loaded when we were talking about it in Birmingham, the Sonic the Hedgehog podcast that I do. That's my other big sort of online creative endeavor, Sonic the Comic, the podcast, stctp.zone, where I and my co-host Dave Bulmer do an issue by issue retrospective of the original British Sonic the Hedgehog comic from the 90s. Just a very formative comic reading experience for both of us, and something that's very near and dear to us. Comes out fortnightly, although we are a little behind at the moment because Dave moved house recently and his computer didn't survive the journey, so we're a bit behind. But beyond that, but you know, I don't think of myself as like being an active member of Sonic fandom or anything like that. That's just the other big creative thing that I do. I'm a big comic reader. I used to be a comics retailer. I spent 10 years in comics retail. And I sort of fell off of comics after I left for a while, and just basically I put it down to the Energon universe starting actually got me to go back to comic shops and start picking up a few things physically again. And I now have a stack about that high of trades and omnibuses and things sitting next to the bed that I'm slowly working my way through. Yeah, that's the big ones. Yeah, comics and you know, games, cartoons, and Sonic.
was that the comic that came out just after the Sonic cartoon got relaunched? I think it used to be on Big Breakfast, didn't it? They were,
yeah, it's the one 1993 it started. Yeah,
that was it. Yeah, because I remember there was the chicken and I'm gonna say the pig, which is the bad henchman.
Yeah,
right,
Scratch and Grinder.
That's it. Yeah, and I do, and I remember. I don't know if you might watch a bit of Death Battle as well. Like I remember Archie's Sonic versus the Ultimate Flash. Like who was the fastest? Watch that. That's really interesting. Like it does whole backstories about each of the characters, and it shows like who's the best speedster, right? But it shows like how unbeatable Archie's version of Sonic is. Like he's just
yeah. Well, see, that's we don't hold no truck with that Archie Sonic on our show.
Okay.
It's all in good fun.
Shut the fuck up.
Americans have controlled the Sonic narrative on the internet for 30 years. And the British Sonic the comic got diminished into being this weird foreign thing compared to what the American comic was. So this podcast has been two guys who love it coming back in and saying, no, listen here, right? We were there. All of you under the age of 25 who read it through scans. Shut up. We're here to tell you what it was really like. So that's
went through it.
hostile tone the podcast adopts.
I've got the ink marks.
Right, we'll do a couple more questions from the chat.
I think
We've got
Killer trying to troll you. Is Killer Thing trying to troll you?
We'll do 2 more questions from the chat. So we've got one from Rudy and one from Kalal Prime. Not who sure Kalal Prime is. Some dodgy character, no doubt. But Rudy's saying, do you have a favorite character from the first draft for the movie that appeared a few years ago? And I remember you telling me about this, like the things you looked at and the favorite character.
Well, so everybody knows. Well, maybe everybody doesn't know, but the first draft of the movie, Jim Sorensen and I did a presentation about it. TF Nation 2022. I mean, it's reals, isn't it? Come on, a big train that turns into a snake. Come on, it's reals.
Can't be anything but. And Kalal Prime has asked the question.
He was first class. He was first class.
Oh, nice. Great banter. What was the last Transformers thing that really made you smile?
Really made me smile. I mean, I did a good smile at that Dino King, the pictures of that, because it has weapons that combine to make a bigger weapon for the combiner, and that's one of my kinks. Like, I just love that in combiner toys
bigger
when they do that, you know.
Parts at parts form. Woof.
I can't think of a specific moment off the top of my head, but I'm sure something from Skybound has done that. Has really, you know, I flipped the page and I've really gone, or oh, sick, or so, you know, at a moment when I've really turned the page and had a good laugh or smile at that. It's a thing, isn't it? You know, when you've been into this stuff for as long as guys like us have, and you start to feel like you've seen it all, or you've read it all, or there's nothing in a toy that can surprise you. Maybe you make a fortnightly video series that really involves you boiling down deep into the lore of the thing, and you start to really see the individual cogs turning behind any idea in the medium, and then something comes along and that surprises you and makes you go, oh wait, no, I mean, I really do like this, don't I? And I mean, I remember for me, like, that was I don't remember which one it was, but it was one of the early Earthspark trailers, whether it was for the first batch of Earthspark episodes or maybe the second batch, which had like Tarantulas and Breakdown in it. And I remember seeing that trailer and just smiling and thinking, oh, money, ideas, talent, freshness. Haven't seen it in a Transformers cartoon in nigh on 10 years.
But you haven't a big day, you're just saying these words, blotting that out, and just,
tweeting them more like, probably.
Right, should we take some questions from the show, guys? So Andy, Jamie, you've asked loads of this.
Pete hasn't asked.
I haven't asked one either.
What?
All right, Pete.
No,
Andy.
No. Do you know what, Andy? You go first.
No, do you know what?
I'll
You're
fine.
so lovely, Pete. I'm going to let you go first. If you steal my question, I will fucking kill you.
I've got one.
So have I. Do you ever fucking shut up?
Alexis, be quiet. No.
So my one, mate, is what? Obviously, we know. You know, you've done. You know, the wiki and stuff. What inspired you to do the basics?
Well, you know, and I'm perfectly honest about this when I talk about it, but when I started the basics, I had been out of work for a while, and I was going mad. My mental health was really suffering. You know, it was just each day sort of blurring into the next, slowly watching the numbers in the bank balance tick down. Was losing it. And I needed something to keep my mind busy. That was the same year that I was also writing if you guys remember, the Transformers animated graphic novel that was at TF Nation that year, the Trial and Error, the season 4 animated graphic novel. Like, spent a lot of the summer working on that. But at the same time I was doing that, I also decided to start the basics because it was like, can't let the thoughts creep in, must have work to do, must keep mind occupied. But in addition to that harrowing reason, there was just something happening at the time where I started to feel a little irked at the way the wiki was organizing some of its information. And that's not a slight against the wiki in any way at all. You know, I think it's an invaluable resource, and I've been a contributor and a moderator there for over a decade at this point. But there was just something at the time that was sort of bugging me, and I was looking at it and I was going, this isn't new user friendly, is it? You've got to know how this works before you can find the information you're looking for. And I feel like and you know, what was that? It was 2017, so the aligned continuity was in a weird sort of thrashing around phase at that point, where it wasn't clear it was going to keep going on, but it wasn't clear it was going to end either. And but it had been going on just long enough that there was and it's continued right up to now. That's the question I was saying earlier on. Will TF1 change this? But there is this unified lore now, where if someone asks you a question about Optimus Prime or Megatron or how the war started or whatever, you don't have to preface it by saying, well, you know, there's a lot of different Transformer stories, and in every Transformer story there's a different blah blah blah. No, now there is a true answer that is sort of universally true for all stories that happen now. And I had this notion, like, some I should do. I don't know why I decided to make it a YouTube series. I can't remember that now at this point, but I guess it was a desire to just move away from wiki stuff and just try it in a different medium. But yeah, it was like we need to get. It was a thought. There needs to be an even more new user friendly total primer. You know nothing. Jump in and start here resource, and I guess I'll fucking do it then.
So, is it do you design it for like people who are first entering into Transformers? Like, is that your when you're putting the script together and like the image, is that your audience? Like, you say, I want someone who knows nothing to then fall in love with it, and that's my audience, or is it something else?
I mean, that's sort of what I hope for. As I always say, that when from the inside, it can be difficult to know if I'm accomplishing it. But then, you know, someone will come along and say that yeah, that's how it worked for them, and it's nice to know that it is working from the inside. I mean, you know, when I write an episode, I do assume you know who Optimus Prime is. I know you assume who Megatron is. I assume you know that the Autobots are the good guys and the Decepticons are the bad guys, and they come from a planet called Cybertron. But beyond that, yeah, I kind of do always contextualize who Unicron is, or
I like the way you say contextualize. Very good.
Calm down, Jamie.
Or you know, I'll put a descriptor at the start of a character, and you know, the Autobot medic, Ratchet, treacherous Decepticon Lieutenant, Starscream, just so somebody who doesn't know who these characters are will immediately have some context for who they are and where they fit in whatever story I'm explaining at any time. But yeah, that was sort of the impetus behind it. Yeah.
Pete, sorry, Pete, you've had your question. Andy, come on, question from your good self, sir.
I actually had some pre-prepared questions, and you've read all the people in the chat who came up with the same question out. So I'm going to go for the low-hanging fruit, and I'm going to ask you this, Chris. Who are your favorite characters in Transformers? Your personal favorites. So not necessarily that you've done basics on or whatever, but your personal favorites, and possibly toys, because you know they're not always the same thing. Sometimes you get a favorite character, but your favorite toy is something different. So who are your favorite ones?
Well, first of all, can I just say I'm very glad you said favorites plural, because it's very difficult for me to pick a singular one. And when somebody asks me for my singular one, I usually do pick Omega Supreme, which is just really based in childhood memories of the key to Vector Sigma. But you know, I don't. You know, there are many. Maybe even some of you guys, I don't know off the top of my head, but you know, collectors who'll have like a shrine to their favorite character and they buy every version of that character's toy. I don't have anybody like that. I don't have anybody where I buy every version of a certain character's toy. But you know, some favorites be like yeah, Omega Supreme, Soundwave, because it's Soundwave, for goodness sakes, you know, Rhinox, from the Rhinox. I always quite liked Rumble, largely based in the cartoon, and that kind of goes hand in hand with Soundwave.
So Rumble's blue, just for clarity.
The heart, the head says that Rumble is red, but the heart says that Rumble is blue.
Go with your heart, Chris. Go with your heart. Anyway, carry on.
Grapple, again, purely based on sort of like the that 1G1 cartoon episode with him and Hoist, just really made an impression on me. Guys like and then like there's when it comes to favorite toys, Kind of like dark horse picks. Like anytime anyone ever asks me to write about something, like where there's been a couple of instances in the past where someone said to me, "Do you want to write something for a zine?" And it'll be like a character profile or a review of a toy, or and I always go for Armada Scavenger. Like I've been banging the Armada Scavenger drum since 2002. And I continue to do it today because he's such a weird, wonderful, like action feature packed toy. I'll always sing his praise. And like similarly, Sideways from Armada as well is another like long time favorite toy of mine that I'll often just pick him up and have a little fiddle with him, because I mean there's just so much play factor packed down into those toys, and it just speaks to there's no starker display of the difference in mentality behind Transformers toys now in 2024 to where they were 20 years ago than something like an Armada Sideways or an Armada Scavenger, where those were toys for kids that were like a delivery platform for a play pattern, a toy line for ideas, and so much of what comes today is somewhat targeted at adult collectors, both great in their own way, you know.
Team of men.
I've got a question from Samantha. She's asking, why is Prime your favorite?
Prime the cartoon, Prime the character.
I think Prime the cartoon.
I think she's a cartoon.
Is that what you take, Alexis?
It's Alexis's wife.
It's my
No,
wife.
really,
It
really is.
It's actually my wife. It's actually my wife.
Hi,
hey,
Sam.
You still watching, Sam?
Hi, Alexis.
I don't
Not
think
me.
Prime is my favorite cartoon. You know, it's definitely like in my top, I don't know, 5 maybe.
Is it
but
animated?
it's either animated or Beast Wars. I flip flop. It's one of the two. You know.
Whoa!
Pete's not a fan of Beast Wars. Sorry.
Well,
Again, Chris. Again,
you can
Your
pick
turn.
me if you like, but
Chris, you're welcome. You're welcome every week, Chris. Every week.
Pete likes his Transformers smooth.
they were very smooth in Beast Wars. They had no
Right, okay.
shadows, no textures. You could slide right off that animation. No, I always say that I feel like the 2 best seasons of Transformers TV were Transformers Animated Season 1 and Beast Wars Season 2. And for different reasons, though, because Beast Wars Season 2 is as good as it is because of all the groundwork the first season lays.
Mm-hmm.
Then that first season of Animated is just a great entry point. It's like, here we are now. It's been 10 years and more since Prime ended. But
You can sit right there.
if somebody comes to you and asks you, where should I start if I want to watch Transformers? You gotta tell them either Animated or Prime, don't you? I mean, there's just no better start. You can't say to a kid today to go back and watch Generation 1 to be
I
their
think if you've got
first
a hard
exposure
start
to
like I have, you can. I do. I say G1. That's where
My
you got to
oldest
start.
son, Liam, he was lucky enough to grow up in an era where his first cartoon he really remembered watching, other than me introducing him to G1, he went straight from that pretty much into Transformers Animated.
Yeah.
And then from Transformers
But you did
Transformers
introduce
Animated
him
to
to
Transformers
G1 first,
Prime.
didn't you?
Obviously.
Yeah. So,
But
yeah,
the
Chris,
first
I
time
think
he
you-
watched Transformers the movie, he lasted the battle scene at the start, and then he got bored and wandered off.
Yeah.
And I remember the disappointment I felt. But within a week, he watched it on his own. He just put the DVD on.
because you
and he
tied
watched
him
it
up.
on his own. And that was it. He was addicted. No, I'm not that kind of parent. I didn't have to.
I
tie him
will
up.
agree. Don't let them watch
Thumbtacks.
Transformers
Slow
movie
him down.
first, because I showed my 6 and 7-year-old that, and they cried because everyone fucking dies.
Yeah,
Well, there is a lot of death. It's harsh, isn't it?
Yeah, and then I put on the G1. They went, "No, I don't watch it. No, everyone dies. Don't
No,
want, no,
I know
no,
he
Dad,
dies.
no,
He
Dad."
dies.
Right, we've got a couple
But
more questions,
now-
if that's all right, Chris, from the chat. So, Skywalker FCS, would you consider basic episodes as 2-parters if they overrun? And, you know, things can go on, like maybe something's gone for like, you wouldn't have a Transformers show which went on for 2 hours and 27 minutes.
No, honestly, no 2-parters. That's always been my like as I was saying earlier on, my goal at the outset is always everything in one place. Everything you need to know about one subject, one character, whatever, in one video. If it goes long, it goes long. Like the Optimus and Megatron videos are about 17 minutes each.
Yep.
But no, I'm not splitting them in. And it's like updates. You know, I don't want to make like part 2s or supplementals to do the new information and just stick it on and say, go and watch this one now. No, redo it, whole episode, one video, one place, everything all in one. That's
if you ever
always
do a
the
part
approach.
2, I would like a Guinness then. I would like a Guinness. If you ever decide to do a part 2.
Oh, yeah, well, okay, fair enough. Yeah, if I do, yeah.
Claire Prime said, "What lost piece of Transformers history keeps you up at night?"
I would love to get a hold of the original script for Call of the Primitives, because that's the episode with Primacron and the origin of Unicron and everything. And it's got that one weird scene in it where the Matrix rises up out of the body of Primacron's assistant. And the episode says nothing about it in dialogue. I want to know what was written. I want to know what the script said about that. I want to know what that's supposed to mean. I've always wanted to know that, and we've still never turned that script up. That's
the
I
animation
don't even
was
have to think
amazing.
about that question. That's it. Yeah.
So I'll get for
animation.
It's fine.
Awesome.
I'll find
Is that the one? Is that the one thing you've never? So like, because you're
I know
very
Ross Kemp now.
lucid about trying to find things. Is that the one thing you've never been able to find? Like you found it.
I mean, I don't know where people find these things, honestly. Like, I always pay attention when they're found, but I don't know how people find storyboards and scripts and things. In much the same way, I don't really understand how people find prototypes and test shots, and there's a whole thriving, cottage industry of fandom that's about the buying and trading of those. I don't know where you go to find that stuff. But I just like watching from the outside when people do.
Right, last question from the chat, and then I'll open it to any final questions from the crew. So, DJ, this is such a good question. I want to be asked this question. Chris, do you prefer Megatron as the irredeemable Decepticon or the remorseful Autobot? What a question.
Oh, well, I mean, there's what, if I'm really honest, what I'm really interested to see right now is what Transformers 1 does with it.
Yeah.
I'm
deliberately
not meeting the gaze of anybody on screen.
The eyes are telling us of secrets. I know all.
Because remorseless. They're. I think when that idea came in, I could understand the thought process behind it. Coming out of the IDW comics in 2007, 2008 with All Hail Megatron, as they then developed the IDW, the Alliance continuity at the end of the decade. And then the 2010s happened, and a bunch of stuff happened in real life that sort of cast the idea of presenting genocidal fascists as poor little misunderstood revolutionaries. Kind of recontextualize that. And then when IDW did their 2019 reboot, they found an interesting sort of ground with it, where you had the idea of the Decepticons as this political movement, and kept the idea of Optimus and Megatron once being friends, but ultimately, instead of the Decepticons wanting to get the boot off their necks, they decided, well, why aren't we allowed to be the boot? That was like the difference between those two versions of that. And it's obvious from even Earthspark has hinted towards it. And again, it's barely even worth chatting about. This is why I'm not doing a breakdown video about the second Transformers 1 trailer, because there's no point doing it, because people have seen the film now and know if it's right or not. It's not speculation anymore when people can go, he's wrong. But they've changed it so that Prime and Megatron come from the same social class, come from the same background now, which is probably a better way of telling that story than having Prime be from the higher classes and Megatron be from the lower classes, and not literally, but sort of like effectively painting Prime as a warrior for the status quo and Megatron as being the revolutionary. It's a story that's got to move along and change with the times. I liked a lot of what happened in the IDW comics with Autobot Megatron. I did that comic dub with him. I don't think the story past that point in the story, I'm not sure it explored it all to the fullest, and it did sort of wind up consuming the story of More Than Meets the Eye and Lost Light in a way that I think negatively impacted the comic. But was that an answer? Did I answer the question there? Or did I just randomly?
Right, we'll finish up with any questions from the show, guys. So Jamie, Andy, not Alexis, Peter.
I've got a question. I mean, obviously we're both very attractive guys. It's a curse we bear, but we hold up well. Is there a character? Is there a story in Marvel UK, specifically Marvel UK, be it a theme or an individual standalone short story, which is your favorite in Transformers Marvel UK?
Ooh. It's a weird pool, right? But I've always had a very soft spot for Firebug. Because I had the annual that reprinted it when I was I was very in and out on the UK comic when I was younger. Like I had a bunch of it, but I never got it regularly. So I was always I mean, Time Wars stands out in my memory as well because I had a lot of Time Wars. What else? Bits of Space Pirates, and a bunch of the black and white stuff too. But Firebug just freaked me out when I was a kid. That horrible little shadow gremlin with its little nasty sharp teeth staring out of the flames. That creeped me out as a kid, and it's a weird, obscure, like not particularly memorable story in the grand sweep of things. But yeah, it's kind of Firebug.
That's etched into my memory. That sort of photo.
Yeah, there you go.
Andy, anything from you, sir?
Do you know what? I think we've covered a lot of the stuff that I was going to ask. So the only other thing I suppose would be your involvement with TFN and everything. Did that start with Auto Assembly? Were you kind of involved in the same way there, or has that only been in the more recent times with TFN that you've had quite a major role in certainly the presentation of stuff there?
Yeah, I mean, they let me go on the stage sometimes is how I think of it,
It's funny, they won't let us.
I'm not a staff and I'm not an organizer, if I'm totally honest, again, it goes back to the 2009 convention. I often say like I'm a very different person, and I kind of don't care to think about what kind of a person I would be had it not been for that convention, where I really did come out of my shell, like in a way that I really hadn't ever in my life before, to finally be able to talk to people passionately about the things that I liked, and I have this, I feel like excuse me, and obviously they are two separate conventions, but there is there's a lot of crossover and organizer, and I do just feel like and that's a feeling that perpetuates like year upon year. It's I always say TF Nation is like where consider my year to sort of begin and end. That's the end of that. Now we're working towards the next one. And I just feel like personally as a person, I kind of owe that convention a lot for not just for who I've been able to become as a person, but the success that I found on YouTube and the other stuff I've done on the internet. A lot of that is down to the friendships and the community that I found in that convention. So if that convention ever, when Billy messages me and say, "Can you do a quiz next year?" I'm like, "How high, sir?" That's but yeah, and that did sort of start in Auto Assembly. I mean, I think like the big part of it was like I kept winning the quiz at Auto Assembly, so they had me start writing the quiz instead. I think it sort of went from there.
People that were getting complaints.
You don't win my quiz, McFeely. You need to up your game a little bit next year.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So there was something I was going to add to that, just out of what you said then, and it's completely slipped my mind now. Nope, it's gone.
I've got a question about TFM, which we're already linked to it, and we'll go back to you, Andy, for the final question of the whole night, because I do need to see my parents at some sort of point.
Yes, we've gone a bit long, haven't we?
It's been worth a while.
What's your favorite bit of TFN? Because that's how we met as a group of people. Like that's how we've made friends and stuff. And we've carried on, and it just seems like it's weird for me to think that a Transformers convention would be like the holiday highlight of the year, but it is.
But it is. Yeah,
I'm so excited for 2 weeks' time. What's your favorite bits?
I mean, I don't buy very much at TFN anymore.
I don't.
I'll usually do a little get a bit of stuff in the Forge to support like the artist and things, and because those are nice little things I can put in a folder and be like, that's the souvenirs from that convention, and I might buy a toy or two. I mean, I remember in Days of Yore when I had to bring an extra suitcase and heaping piles of stuff. But I don't tend to come away with. So I mean, it's trite to say like the community and seeing my friends, but that really is, you know, what it's about. And I enjoy getting to play as well. I enjoy getting to, you know, be invited to do some stuff on stage. You know, there is a certain charm to the whole panto villain aspect of the quiz, where everyone is like, boo, you know, when we're about halfway through, you know, or doing like. I've been very privileged to do a lot of what I consider to be quite exciting things, like getting to write the animated graphic novel that I mentioned earlier on. I don't know if I'm ever going to do anything cooler than that in the Transformers fandom. I was looking back over that there a week or two ago, and I was just thinking, yeah, we did pretty good on that. I'm still very proud of that. Or the movie panel, the first draft of the movie panel a couple of years ago, like that was. And that wasn't like, oh, I get to do this. That was like, I can't believe I get to share this unseen thing with everybody. And, you know, like there were people responding to that. There's still people you see today who don't really understand that the art was just fan art that was created for the panel. And, you know, people say, well, why did they do that? Why did they create art? And I'm like, oh, you don't understand, buddy. It was supposed to be a big, splashy, fun present. It was supposed to be crack. It was supposed to be exciting and fun, and we would go through it and point out how silly it was and just have fun with it and share this exciting thing. And that's why we made art for it, instead of it being me and Jim Sorensen sitting at a table, like reading passages out and explaining it to you. No, it was dancing around, animated on stage, gesturing, pointing, miming for 2 hours. It was exhausting. I was knackered the next day.
And you loved it all.
Seeing people and getting the chance to play like that. Yeah, that's what it is for TF Nation for me. Yeah.
That's what that should be the tagline. See people, get a chance to play. Sensibly, it's the tagline for TF, but yeah, 100% is. Go on, Andy.
Sorry, what you just said, it reminded me of what the other question was. Jim Sorensen. Yay. How much fun is Jim Sorensen really? Yeah. And as a slightly secondary question, I've never had the chance to speak to him. So if you could introduce us at TFN, it would be lovely this year. Because I never seem to get the chance.
That's not a question.
Never miss him. It is.
I don't think you need
That's an Alexis question.
I guarantee Alexis will be there at my shoulder at the moment when Jim Sorensen's chatting to me. He will be straight.
Oh, Jim, like getting to see Jim is always like a great highlight, because it's the only time we see each other out of the year. You know, we kind of think of each other as like partners in convention crime. We don't have anything cooked up together this year, but you know, maybe next year there'll be something. You know,
DICC.
We co-wrote the animated comic, for instance. You know, we did that panel. We've done a couple of other panels together talking about rarities of art and other versions of scripts and things. And the funny thing that we both always say to each other as any TF Nation is we're always worried that we're monopolizing each other's time, because you know there's the weekend is only so long and there are so many people to see, but we do spend a lot of time hanging out together, and we always do like, I'm not, you know, you don't have anywhere to be. No, you don't have anywhere to be. We're always worried that we're taking up too much of each other's time because we hang out so much.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right, I think it's a good way to end the show. I can't wait for
quickly slam the turnout, slam the power down.
I just
2 hours 41.
It's been a privilege, and thank you so much for tonight, and thank you to everyone in the Transformers show.
That's okay, Jamie. I'll do it every week. I'll do it for you. Oh, you do it, Chris.
I'll do it for you next week as well, Jamie. That's how kind I am.
Chris, just in case they want to know where to find you, do you want to give your YouTube channel a shout out now?
Yeah, they definitely need that, don't they?
Up and coming YouTuber you are, Chris, though.
Well, it is just Chris McFeely on YouTube, Chris McFeely on Twitter. It's Chris McFeely anywhere. You know, that's it. It's just my name has been my online handle for 20 plus years.
You wish you chose a sexy moniker like, I don't know, Storm Toy Photography? Do you wish you chose something like that?
No, Chris, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Chris, especially for watching.
Thank you guys very much for having me on. It's been great fun this evening. I know we've been saying we should do it for a year now. I'm glad we did squeeze it in before TF Nation this year.
Yes.
And just, you know, thanks very much for being so nice and saying nice things about me stuff. Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoy it.
Thank you.
We're going to end this show. If you enjoyed what you saw tonight, please head to Facebook and go to Transformers The Show. We'll be there for a chat, and TF Show on Twitter. Brilliant Chris, thank you so much. Thank you to my co-host as well.
Thank you.
It's been a lovely night. I'm going to bed now. After I say goodnight to my mum and dad. And it's great to see you all. And we will see you if you come to TFN. Don't worry if you're not. Have a chat with us and we'll chat with you in the groups. That will be our mini TFN over the next couple of weeks. And Night Hunter's just come in. Night Hunter. See you later.